Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Do I sound alright? Is it just Willie that's echoing? Or is it me? Can't be me. Anyway. Can't see nothing. What? Can you see something now? Are we here? Are we here? So, I don't know if any of you guys saw the speech that Vance made to these European leaders, but it's pretty cool. Pretty interesting, and as a British person, I found it, very, very interesting. Basically, well, let's watch it. We'll find out. I'm going to go, hey, doodle. Hey, guys. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Try to get this channel built up a little bit more. Talk about real world stuff over here. Like the news. So yeah, I'm going to play this. I just need to go and grab a drink. Let Tyson up while this is playing on. Going to play with whack-a-mole. Right, here we go.
Live to the stage, the main stage there at the Munich Security Conference, where J.D. Vance, the U.S. Vice President, is preparing to deliver his remarks. He's just being introduced, I understand, by the chairman of the Munich Security Conference. Let's listen in. There he is.
I wanted to talk about today is, of course, our shared values. And, you know, it's great to be back in Germany. As you heard earlier, I was here last year as United States Senator. I saw Foreign Secretary David Lammy and joked that both of us last year had different jobs than we have now. But now it's time for all of our countries, for all of us who have been fortunate enough to be given political power by our respective peoples, to use it wisely to improve their lives. And I want to say that, you know, I was fortunate in my time here to spend some time outside the walls of this conference over the last 24 hours. And I've been so impressed by the hospitality of the people, even as, of course, as they're reeling from yesterday's horrendous attack. And the first time I was ever in Munich was with my wife, actually, who's here with me today, on a personal trip. And I've always loved the city of Munich, and I've always loved its people. And I just want to say that we're very moved, and our thoughts and prayers are with Munich and everybody affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community. We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now, I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but we gather at this conference, of course, to discuss security, and normally we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too. Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom.
These people were not ready to hear any of this stuff. Absolutely crazy. As used to be the world heavyweight boxing champ earlier. Ukrainian. Him and his brother, world famous boxers.
Where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person, but no. This last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe,
horrendous.
Free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country, where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation. Misinformation like, for example, the idea that coronavirus had likely leaked from a laboratory in China. Our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. So I come here today not just with an observation, but with an offer. And just as the Biden administration seemed desperate to silence people for speaking their minds, so the Trump administration will do precisely the opposite, and I hope that we can work together on that. In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree. Now, we're at the point, of course, that the situation has gotten so bad that this December, Romania straight up canceled the results of a presidential election based on the flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors. Now, as I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections. But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective. You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
Boom.
Now, the good news is that I happen to think your democracies are substantially less brittle than many people apparently fear. And I really do believe that allowing our citizens to speak their mind will make them stronger still. Which, of course, brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. Now, again, we don't have to agree with everything or anything that people say. But when people represent, when political leaders represent an important constituency, it is incumbent upon us to at least participate in dialogue with them. Now, to many of us on the other side of the Atlantic, it looks more and more like old entrenched interests hiding behind ugly Soviet-era words like misinformation and disinformation, who simply don't like the idea that somebody with an alternative viewpoint might express a different opinion or, God forbid, vote a different way or, even worse, win an election.
Yeah.
Now, this is a security conference, and I'm sure you all came here prepared to talk about how exactly you intend to increase defense spending over the next few years in line with some new target. And that's great, because as President Trump has made abundantly clear, he believes that our European friends must play a bigger role in the future of this continent. We don't think, you hear this term, burden sharing, but we think it's an important part of being in a shared alliance together that the Europeans step up while America focuses on areas of the world that are in great danger. But let me also ask you,
man, we got everybody's ass.
How will you even begin to think through the kinds of budgeting questions if we don't know what it is that we're defending in the first place? I've heard a lot already in my conversations, and I've had many, many great conversations with many people gathered here in this room. I've heard a lot about what you need to defend yourselves from, and of course that's important. But what has seemed a little bit less clear to me, and certainly I think to many of the citizens of Europe, is what exactly it is that you're defending yourselves for. What is the positive vision that animates this shared security compact that we all believe is so important? And I believe deeply that there is no security if you are afraid of the voices, the opinions, and the conscience that guide your very own people. Europe faces many challenges, but the crisis this continent faces right now, the crisis I believe we all face together, is one of our own making. If you're running in fear of your own voters, there is nothing America can do for you. Nor, for that matter, is there anything that you can do for the American people who elected me and elected President Trump. You need democratic mandates to accomplish anything of value in the coming years. Have we learned nothing that thin mandates produce unstable results? But there is so much of value that can be accomplished with the kind of democratic mandate that I think will come from being more responsive to the voices of your citizens. If you're going to enjoy competitive economies, if you're going to enjoy affordable energy and secure supply chains, then you need mandates to govern. because you have to make difficult choices to enjoy all of these things. And of course, we know that very well in America. You cannot win a Democratic mandate by censoring your opponents or putting them in jail. Whether that's the leader of the opposition, a humble Christian praying in her own home, or a journalist trying to report the news. Nor can you win one by disregarding your basic electorate on questions like who gets to be a part of our shared society. And of all the pressing challenges that the nations represented here face, I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration. Today, almost 1 in 5 people living in this country moved here from abroad. That is, of course, an all-time high. It's a similar number, by the way, in the United States, also an all-time high. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course, it's gotten much higher since. And we know the situation, it didn't materialize in a vacuum. It's the result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over the span of a decade. We saw the horrors wrought by these decisions yesterday in this very city. And of course, I can't bring it up again without thinking about the terrible victims who had a beautiful winter day in Munich ruined. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and will remain with them. But why did this happen in the first place? It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many times in Europe and unfortunately too many times.
70 million.
That's crazy.
Small too.
Dude, that's crazy, like, considering the size of this country. So if you imagine 70 million people, like,
Dude, why don't we
rammed
why
into
don't we
the...
Why don't like half y'all come here?
Well, yeah, why don't America... Trump could buy the UK, couldn't he?
We have the land for y'all.
It'd be a great strategic place for America to have.
Not gonna lie, dude. We could probably stick most of it here in PA.
Yeah, so I mean, look, the UK is roughly about the size of Idaho.
Exactly.
So you imagine 70 million people living in Idaho. It's insane.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, we got so much unoccupied land here, dude. And every like city here is named after like cities out there, like Westchester.
Yeah. Well, where you live,
name
is, I won't say it out loud, but where you live is obviously a really famous place here. It was built by the Romans. It's ancient.
That's what I mean. That's why you like it here because I mean, y'all like it here because it'd be just like home. Plus the weather's the same,
Yeah, the weather's
We'll take all in.
similar, but you don't want too many of us over there.
Nah,
It didn't go too well before, did it?
I mean, we got the bigger land, so
I mean, we kind of fell out after a while, didn't we?
yeah. But let me ask you a question: Why just because we let everybody in our country? Why do you guys just start letting everybody in your country?
Well, because our governments are fucking arseholes, aren't they? They were the same. They were all following the same.
Like, who was like, yeah, let's do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were all just following the same. But it's all these European leaders. This is why none of these fuckers were expecting to hear what Vance had to say. It's awesome, dude. As a British person, I absolutely agree with everything he said. Sure.
Oh yeah, dude. How can to be honest, how can anybody hate this guy? Like everything he's saying is flat out fact.
Yeah. And
I mean,
did you see Elon tweeted something? He had a hat on that said
that's another thing that pisses me off, dude. Is everybody's like, oh, he's only in there, so he can get government contracts. Just so everybody's aware, Trump's day. Hold on a second. This is a fact, and anybody can fact check me. By the way, Trump's first day in office. Remember the Green New Deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know whose company?
Your mic sounds like shit, by the way.
Of course it does, because you're fucking. This is so fucked, dude. I'm echoing. My mic sounds like shit. Can you ever have can you ever be a good host?
You're not echoing. I mean, I'm not doing anything. All I do is send. That sounded better.
I'm just kidding with you. Does that sound better?
Yeah. I'm only telling you for your benefit, because
it's fucking StreamYard, dude. If I sound better though, but Yeah, so anybody, and you can fact check me. Trump's first day in office, he ended the Green New Deal, right? Elon was going to make $400 million on that deal. So anybody who's telling me, "Oh, Elon's in there to," really? Because Trump ended $400 million of his deal day one. So I don't want to hear shit.
I mean, anybody that thinks that Elon Musk is in this to try and make money,
You're out of your
to
mind.
me, it's like absolutely insane. He's the world's second richest man. Why does he need your social security? Do you know what I mean? It's like he doesn't need your social security money.
That's what I'm saying. And
It would cost him more money.
He's a rocket scientist.
Dude, it would cost Elon more. Like if he dropped $100 bill on the floor, it would cost him more money in time to stop, bend over, pick that $100 up, and put it back in his pocket and walk away. It would actually cost him more than $100. He'd be better off just leaving it on the floor.
Exactly. It's like people would rather have somebody in there that, like, you know, makes $100,000, $200,000 a year that has a reason to take our money. This guy has no reason.
Yeah. It's crazy, and it's like he's saving you money. He's exposing where your money is going. I'll tell you what did it for me was like watching that hearing on all of the animal testing and shit.
Oh yeah,
like all of that money going to that. That was it for me. I'm like, now I want to know more. Now I want to know where all of this money's going.
And that's what the Dems are standing for, dude. It's getting so bad. It's gotten so bad for the Democrats that they're thinking about putting Kamala up for the next race.
Well, she's already, I think, as a running mate, she's going to go up, I think. But she's also considering going for the governor of California.
I'm just saying, as of right now, the Democratic Party doesn't know who the fuck they're going to put up. But
she would get elected as governor of California, not legitimately, but like they, you know what I mean? They would get Gavin out and put her in.
But
Happy days.
The top five was like Newsom. Well, it was her. She was first, and then like it was like Waltz, Newsom, AOC, and some. I was like, oh my god, dude! The five people that are just disgusting.
I hope AOC runs because that'd just be hilarious, dude. I mean, she's about to get arrested anyway because she's been out there telling illegal immigrants how to get away from ICE.
Yeah, so is Maxine. These people think they can just do whatever they want, yet they threw Trump in jail.
She's been doing like webinars and stuff, and so's that Ilar Oman, talking to all of like the illegals in foreign languages, telling them how to avoid ICE.
Yeah, exactly. So like, imagine ICE comes and people know, and then one of the officers die. Now all of a sudden it's a big issue, right?
Yeah, Maxine is crazy, Mishka. She looks like a horse. Every time I see her and she opens her mouth, I just think of a horse.
She does.
She just looks like a leathery old horse.
She looks 111.
She probably is 111.
She is.
There's loads of them I can't stand. Like Schumer.
Turtle.
He's a weasel, that Schumer dude. Jerry Nadler, Adam Schiff. Oh, that man. Honestly, if there is a human being on this planet who I'd love to slap, Adam Schiff is like way up there in that top 10.
Yeah.
He's just he's
so is Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell. But he's too old. I couldn't justify slapping him.
Dude's fucking wheelchairing around stealing money.
Yeah, that's all he's there for now. What kind of work does anybody think that man is doing for his like $200,000 a year salary?
Power?
Well, what work do you think he's doing? What is he doing?
Why do you think
How is he representing anybody, that man?
Why do you think they have a cave to take these idiots to so they need their pen and paper because they don't know how to use fucking technology? Like who? What?
I just that's crazy. It's a mine shaft.
And here in Pennsylvania.
I know.
Of course, right here.
That's why if you put in for retirement, they say it takes 10 years to process it.
Really?
Because all your paperwork's down in this fucking mine.
Exactly. Filing cabinets.
It's insane, dude.
Manila folders, bro.
I swear to God. Fire. I mean, look, what it really is, it's just somewhere where they're keeping fucking information on everyone. But it's fascinating, isn't it? Look,
I just can't wait till
that kind of stuff still goes on.
3 months from now, dude. Like, just think about what happened these last 3 weeks. Imagine 3 fucking months of this. Like, people are going to pay the price once they track that money back to the kickbacks, because there's no way 50 million in condoms went to Mozambique. Maybe $49.5 million was kicked back and 500,000 was spent on condoms. Maybe that's what's going to start happening, dude. And people are going to start going to jail.
I hope
That's
people
big-time
start
crime,
going to
dude.
jail. This is the major problem, though, is that they expose all this stuff, but nothing ever happens to the people that have been doing the bad shit.
Dude, nothing has been exposed like this by a government ever.
Look, it's not been exposed, but everybody's been aware of it. This is the problem. Like, people, a lot of the government officials now, they're not shocked.
I haven't been aware of shit. This is
They're all
very
aware
shocking.
of it. It's like, why haven't they done something about it before? Oh, because it's
We
bureaucracy.
funded the Taliban? Like, what is wrong with us?
Yeah, the people that killed hundreds of thousands of your fucking civilians.
We
Like-
paid for poppy plants in Afghanistan. What is wrong with the American way? Like, and this, no, seriously, man. And then people have the balls to tell me that fucking Trump's the fascist or Hitler and shit. No. Whoever the fuck's been doing that, those are the people that are sick. Because that's our money, dude. That's our tax money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
And,
not their
and we
money.
have cities falling apart here, brother.
Exactly, dude. I mean, I bet you roads are like ours, full of potholes, you know, like infrastructure
fucking
in this
disgusting
country.
with potholes.
Yeah, the infrastructure here is absolute bullshit, and they want to charge me a fortune for road tax. We have to pay a thing called road tax to tax your car every year.
Exactly.
My car at the moment is like £1,000. They're on about putting it up to £6,500 a year for me to drive on roads that have just destroyed a £2,000 set of wheels.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, why should I pay to drive on these roads to destroy my car?
You should be
But
pissed.
hey.
Everybody should be pissed, man. Especially if you have just a level head and you realize you paid, I mean, some people are what, 50, 60 years old. You paid 30, 40, 50 years in your taxes, and now it's been going since probably that time. That's
Yeah.
sick.
It's been going for a long, long time. But it's just, you know, it's all their slush funds. This is like Twist just said, they're mad because their money's going away. They
That's why-
see
yeah,
it
that's
as
why they're
they
pushing on
see it
people.
as their money, not
Yeah.
your money.
Exactly.
They see it as you're taking, or you know, they see it as having their money being taken away from them because it's the money they use to fund their garbage
Yeah.
and to line their own pockets. Do you know what I mean? Like everything seems to stem back to that USAID.
Of
And the
course.
amount of people that still call it USAID, it's not USAID. It's not aid. It's not called USAID.
money laundering.
It's USAID. It's not like, yeah, people seem to get it mixed up. It's being
That's
exposed.
exciting. JFK information coming out's exciting.
I absolutely
RFK
agree,
information, because I think there's, again, even she said 2 shooters with JFK, which, you know, I think I know who the second shooter was, but also
You think it
like
was a
we talked
driver,
about
don't you?
RFK, huh?
You think it was a driver, don't you?
I
The
mean, I
guy in
went
the front of the car.
live about it, you know, because remember she was crawling away from somebody, right? Why would she crawl towards where the shots were coming from?
I get it.
You know,
But you know, I just hope more official. I did see some stuff come out earlier, which, but obviously,
haven't
once a
dropped-
good chunk of stuff has come out, then we'll go over it and look at it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, you know, that was supposed to be sealed until whenever, and I just like that they're just like, no, like, yeah, you could be even treating these people like, especially like 9/11, dude. I hope there's something, you know,
Yeah.
I hope that real shit comes out because there's no way that happened the way they say.
Well, people are asking for it now as well.
Good.
But I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, the JFK stuff is stuff he promised to release. So far, he's living up to everything he said he's going to do. He's doing.
Hell yeah.
I like the way
And then they're mad at him for it. They're like, oh, he's doing
No,
this. He literally
keep-
said he was going to do it.
they keep trying to put riffs between him and Elon, don't they? Like slagging.
Yeah,
him
but
off.
I saw-
It's like it's so funny because
Did you see the interview, though, with Tucker?
yeah, not Tucker, it was Hannity, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, yeah. And they were like, yeah, they were like, we just laugh at it and shit. I was like, yeah.
And what I liked most about that little interview was Trump said, "Look," he said, the people get it." He said, "And that's all that matters."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Elon looked at him and went, "Yeah, you're right. People
Yeah.
get it. The people see what's going on. And
Well, think about it, bro. Trump has spoken more to the media and like in front of the American people, us like live, more than fucking Biden did in 4 years.
Yeah, every day he sat there doing some sort of question and answers.
Exactly.
Or
And he still lets those pigs in the office. What's her name? That activist from CNN.
see, she didn't cover the White House when Biden was there. She
Imagine
had her
that.
own show on CNN. Caitlin Collins.
Imagine that.
She's a snake, dude. She's like Jim Acosta, like fucking
That's what I'm saying,
reincarnated.
dude. Like, I'm not even a hardcore Republican. Like, I love when everybody's like, "Oh, you're a Trump." No, like, I was talking shit on Trump at one point. I was in the middle. Like, I could have went either way. But
Yeah, I agree. Look, I'm not in any way, shape, or form far right, and I'm definitely not far left. I've always considered myself to be like in the middle, and I think as someone from my generation, Gen X, the middle is where we were brought up to be. Do you know what I mean? No nonsense, no bullshit. You work, you pay taxes, you know, everything was straightforward when I was growing up, and like the previous generations have just fucked everything up big time. Like people your age, most people your age, dude, they haven't got fucking two brain cells to rub together. You know what I mean?
yeah, no shit.
Like you're a bit of an exception. You got a like older head on your shoulders, but
You know why? I had to grow up real fast, bro.
exactly. But like honestly, a lot of young people like your age and younger, dude, they're just fucked.
I know.
They could like, is it? Yeah, there's a real difference. And like I say, growing up is never far right. That never really existed. You had your.
And no offense to like women, but like especially women my age and younger, bro. They're all freaking out about Trump. It's like relax,
Yeah,
relax.
I don't understand why.
But seriously, like chicks I went to school with, you know, I'd post something, they'd be like, "Oh, your
Oh, I've
daughter's
seen
gonna be
that.
your daughter's gonna be affected by him now." I'm like, shut up.
Well, at least she's not going to get fucking story time by some trans activist,
Yeah,
you know,
or
at
beat
fucking
up
nursery
fucking-
school.
Yeah, or beat up in the shower by a fucking dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. Common sense, isn't it?
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, your daughter's going to be affected by all of this in a good way. Society's going to be a better fucking place for her. It's going to be safer for her.
Maybe her tax money will go towards something.
Exactly. And like he's heading into the Department of Education, so your school choice is going to change and everything soon. The quality of the teaching that you're going to get. I think Vance talks about it in this speech, doesn't he? Where basically,
Well, I teach my daughter, like,
people in America in the last 50 years,
Why
their
teach my daughter
levels.
outside of what they teach anyway, bro? Because the way they teach some shit is weird.
Yeah.
Especially like math. I mean, math should be a simple fucking, you know, it should be a simple equation that you're going to use in your, you know, especially when you're older. And they have these kids like mapping all the numbers out and shit like that just to get the same damn answer that would take 2 seconds to get. It's like, what are you doing?
Especially
You know?
like, yeah.
I think it's called Common Core or Core Common.
I don't know, dude. But again, I grew up in an era where you weren't even allowed to use a calculator if you could afford a calculator. Do you know what I mean? It's like calculator was a big deal when I was a kid.
Well, when she's fucking the age to like go out, everything's gonna be AI and fucking your phone's gonna be able to do everything for you. Nobody has to figure anything out on paper anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the problem is with that is
these kids how to like fucking be independent when they get out of school. That's what they should start teaching at a young age.
You also need to teach them how to manage without the technology, because if all of that fails, then you've got to learn how to survive in the world without it.
I know. That's true.
You don't need to know what is going on in everybody else's fucking life every minute of the day. You don't need it. You need to concentrate on other things.
But that's like every other person in my like daughter's class, even last year, like I make them give her physical homework. So my daughter is the only one that doesn't get her homework sent through this like webinar thing that they have, where she actually brings home physical paper, physically writing, because they want these kids to just like punch everything in on a computer. Like So then what happens to her handwriting?
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. What happens to those skills? Those skills are always going to be vitally important. As far as I'm concerned, and again, it might just be my age, but the internet, computers, all of that stuff is not real, because it could get switched off. Well, what I'm saying is it could all just be switched off. So then what happens if you can't switch your computer on anymore? How are you going to communicate with people if you've not been taught how to communicate?
The 1990s.
Exactly, but if you don't teach your kids now how to survive in the real world without this shit,
like 18-year-olds right now, dude. If you turned off the internet, there would be. I bet you any amount of money if like phones went out for even a week, they'd have to open up like rehab clinics for kids to like go and learn how to like not
how to cope.
1,000%.
I agree, and that's why I kind of agree. And I know I get a bit hate for this, but I don't think that kids should have access to social media until they're 16.
Or Betty.
I just don't think kids should have access to social media.
I have a question though for Mark and Betty. Is it usually Mark or Betty that's talking? I need to know.
I think you can tell. You can tell.
Or is it always you together? I'm curious.
I love both of those guys, but obviously they both have different opinions, and I like that.
So I didn't ask you, okay? Since you never want to come up on panel, I didn't fucking ask you. All right, thank you, Mark.
What?
That's what I figured. I'm just kidding to it.
I know. Right, let's have a listen to this, because he even has a dig at Greta Thunberg, which is quality, like such a good dig. And I will get on to in a minute. I'll show you how the European and British media particularly are reacting to this, because it's fucking hilarious. Because they're reacting, and then if you read the comments, it's like, yeah, it's great.
Times in the United States as well.
Oh,
An
sorry.
asylum seeker, often a young man in his mid-20s, already known to police, rams a car into a crowd and shatters a community. How many times must we suffer these appalling setbacks before we change course and take our shared civilization in a new direction? No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants.
I'm a little younger, but
you know what they did vote for?
I had like a flip phone.
But that's when, it's when like people had like phones in their houses with cords on them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like,
but when we were outside, we didn't.
And it would be,
bro.
You'd be sat in your house, and like it would be a bit of an occasion if the phone rang, and everybody would look at each other and go, "Oh, who's that?"
Friday nights going to Blockbuster 48 hours to rent a movie was the bee's knees, dude. And then going to Pizza Hut like on Saturday or something, like that was a weekend. Now, sitting inside watching Netflix is what these fuckers do.
Well,
like people
is it? They say it's Netflix and chill in it, but I've only recently.
I'm just talking about in general, like, going out and enjoying the little fucking things have gone away.
Especially like you just said at the weekends.
Frank is doing a lot of it. Let him go, Mish.
Oh, lovely.
There's probably like 11 fucking. He's gonna have like 11.
I don't even care if he's got 11 million people in there. He's got nothing to say that's going to hurt my fucking feelings.
Exactly.
And if he threatens me, I'll be on an aeroplane to fucking.
Yeah, you're closer than me, so.
Dude, my local airport is about 35 miles away, and they've just started doing direct flights to Amsterdam.
Frank, if you're listening to this, be careful, because I have something to fucking, I have something to lose. This guy doesn't. So be careful.
I literally have nothing.
I'm just saying, bro. If I had nothing to lose, I'd be a dangerous son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But without being cocky or anything, I'd be.
But that's my problem with it, and that's what I've had to discuss with my doctor. I've had this discussion with my doctor last week. Is that without the medication and the pure fact that I've got nothing to lose and no fucks to give, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
I've had some close calls the last few weeks where, I think week before last I was walking up the road here in the village where I live, right? And I get right up to the top of the fucking hill, and there's some builder dude there, with a sign in the middle of the road that just says road closed. So I carried on walking because obviously he's not allowed for any public access, and I'm not walking like a mile back down the fucking hill and around the block. So I just kept walking, and this prick, he muttered something under his under his breath, and then he said something about, oh, fucking road's supposed to be closed. So I picked his fucking road closed sign up and threw it at him. I literally threw the sign at him, dude. I said, go off to me again and I'll just knock you fucking clean out. And he just went, oh.
That's what I'm saying. Oh man, somebody threatened me. I'm coming to your house. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, there's no tough guy over the. No, I'm coming to your house. But the problem is,
it's got nothing. It's got nothing to say.
My daughter has nobody, so I have something to lose. That's why I.
But there's nothing. He has nothing to say that can hurt me or could hurt you.
Or me. Like, he knows I.
Exactly. So anything he has to say, you and I are both confident that, he's either making it up.
Miss Potts knows him fucking better than me and you, and fucking, he screwed her too. He's just a weird human being in a basement in the Netherlands trying to get attention, drinking beer 24/7.
He behaves like some fucking serial killer.
Yeah. He looks like Dracula.
My sister from another mister.
Dude, if he went in the sun for like 20 minutes, bro, he might die.
It's a strange climate in the Netherlands. They do all look a bit pale over there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just want to know what's in his mind, because again, if you go back, if his older channel existed and you went back, like, this dude was so adamant that Brian was innocent more than anybody I've ever seen. That's why it's so laughable to me that he could even say Brian's guilty. Like, bro, He is
an abuser. Exactly. He's a cock. Exactly, Meg. He's saying blah 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 blah.
When did he attack Meg? I didn't see that. I would have jumped on that shit.
Yeah, enough people jumped on it.
I just saw him say hello, whatever the fuck he said.
I don't know, dude, but if he's in chat and he attacks Meg or Fit, like, he doesn't understand that there's a huge group of people out here that have each other's backs.
Ian? No, I interviewed Ian.
Enan.
Fuck him. And interviews that happened on his channel is because of me. And that's why when I left, the shit crashed like a bitch.
He had Darren Duncan on there as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who told Miss Potts? Darren Duncan told Miss Potts to go put a gun in her mouth and pull the trigger.
Oh my god!
And I went fucking ballistic in the chat, and Frank started fucking going nuts and getting all rude and sticking up for Darren Duncan saying that. And I'm just like,
level at that time.
I'm like, dude, you can't tell a woman to go and put a gun in her mouth and pull the trigger. Like,
yeah, and I was pissed because I didn't see that. But luckily, that day is when me and him had our falling out, and he thought that, again, the whole truth and transparency fake profile.
Yeah.
He thought it was actually Lana, and then he was like, bro, me and you can't come up anymore. We're done. And then he blocked me. And I'm like, okay. And then he realized it was a fake account, and then he writes me, he's like, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, I was just kidding, right? I'm like, fuck you. And then I blocked him back.
Yeah.
Like, once you show me your true colors, bro, that's it. I'll never be cool with you again.
No.
You know?
I got no time for that bullshit, dude. It's just be real, be honest, or just
people.
be gone.
Exactly.
Just be real, or be
about
gone.
me all at once. I don't care.
Yeah.
Give me some PR.
England, they voted for Brexit.
The more he talks about you, the more they're going to come watch you.
He's going on about Brexit.
About what?
Brexit.
No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care.
Yes, they
about
do.
their homes.
Yes, we
They
do.
care about their dreams. They care about their safety and their capacity to provide for themselves and their children. And they're smart. I think this is one of the most important things I've learned in my brief time in politics. Contrary to what you might hear a couple mountains over in Davos, the citizens of all of our nations don't generally think of themselves as educated animals or as interchangeable cogs of a global economy. And it's hardly surprising that they don't want to be shuffled about or relentlessly ignored by their leaders.
You realise he just called out that whole New World Order? Like, that Davos stuff is like...
Yeah, man, he called everybody.
He's calling
out.
every fucker out.
That's why I like him, man. I don't mind him at all.
And the thing is, like...
Kamala couldn't give this speech with a teleprompter.
Can you imagine Joe Biden giving this speech?
Imagine Kamala trying.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, like, you've got him out here, you've got Pete Hegseth out here, you've got Rubio out here. They're all laying the law down. And it's funny because all the reporters are saying to Trump, "Oh, how do you feel about him saying this? How do you feel about so-and-so saying that?" And it's like, he knows exactly what they're out there saying.
Like, I don't know what, like, are they going to spend the next 4 years trying to, like, divide
Yeah.
Republican Party and not, like, figure out their own strategy to, like, beat them in the next election? Like, they're not, like, what do they think is going to happen tomorrow? Like, a judge is going to, like, say that the election was phony and they're going to have another shot? Like, I'm confused here, brother. What's their aim here?
This is the problem is that they think that they, by causing a divide in the Republican Party or the leadership, is going to solve their problems. But what they don't realise is that this is a mandate by the American people, not just the American people. There's a lot of people around the world that desperately want this kind of action.
So it was okay for Biden to appoint whoever the fuck he wanted in there, but God forbid Trump appoints anybody?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Anybody with a brain. Well, they don't like it because he's not, a black
puppet?
trans fucking
Puppet, bro.
whatever, you know.
Pam Bondi's on her
doesn't
shit.
steal people's luggage.
The press secretary's on her shit. She's an animal, dude.
Yeah, I got
She was my age,
receipts.
that'd be my dream girl.
I got receipts.
She's
She's your age.
She's like, matter of fact, bitch.
Dude, she's your age. Actually, she's
Really?
a bit younger than you, isn't she? She's younger than you.
No way. I thought she just looked younger.
The press
Like,
secretary.
Like
we're talking
Bondi.
about.
Yeah.
No, she's like 26, 27.
Oh shit.
Yeah. She's young.
Yeah. Let's see, was she married?
Yeah, she's just had a kid. She's just had
me.
some. She's just had some face fillers done as well, by the look of it.
Oh, never mind. I don't like her anymore.
I noticed it in the press thing.
I
yesterday.
broke up with a
she's
chick
done for her face.
over that shit. Believe it or not, she got her.
I believe it. I would.
She got her jaw
don't like
done or
it.
something like that, and I was like,
It's
what?
just weird, isn't it? I don't, like these lip fillers and all that. It doesn't do it for me at all.
And the lips, yes, and the lips, and I was like,
Just makes people look weird, doesn't it? I mean, JD looks like he's got a bit of eyeliner going on here. He
Really?
looks like he's wearing eyeliner, yeah. Guy liner, they call it.
fuck,
It
man.
was a bit of a thing in the 90s. But look, he is wearing guy liner. For sure. He's got some makeup on.
Who, Scott? Her name
It
is
is the
great.
business of democracy to adjudicate these big questions at the ballot box. I believe that dismissing people, dismissing their concerns, or worse yet, shutting down media, shutting down elections, or shutting people out of the political process protects nothing. In fact, it is the most surefire way to destroy democracy.
Amen.
And speaking up and expressing opinions isn't election interference.
The eyeliner.
Even when people express
what it's
views
called.
outside your own country,
Really?
and
Yeah.
even when those people are very influential.
Cut my life.
And trust me, I say that
I may or may not have worn guy liner at one point in my life.
Oh my god.
Dude, it was... Look, I grew up in the fucking 80s and 90s, dude.
I knew
We
you
were
were
fucking
gay.
wackadoodle.
I know it. I had a hunch.
I'm not gay.
How long were you
My
gay?
boy, I'm not gay, dude. My boyfriend
I'm not
was,
saying you're
but
gay now, but you were.
I wasn't. My boyfriend was, but I wasn't.
this with all humor. If American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? I love that.
I heard it. I watched this.
I love it so much.
Country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor. If American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what German democracy, what no democracy, American, German, or European will survive.
The thing is, we can't see the crowd, and obviously there's no applause or anything, because that would, they'd get singled out for that.
Well, there's one time where he
can see
dropped
them.
a bomb, and there's like one person clapping. It was great.
Yeah, he can see them. I bet, some of them are like smiling and...
Oh, yeah.
Do
They
you know what I
probably just don't want to get in trouble when they go back home.
Exactly. I bet inside they're all thinking, yes. Yes, thank God.
Telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered. Democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters. There's no room for firewalls. You either uphold the principle
If I ever
or
painted my
you
nails,
don't.
my dad would have kicked my ass.
Europeans, the people, have a voice. European leaders have a choice. And my strong belief is that we do not need to be afraid of the future. You can embrace what your people tell you, even when it's surprising, even when you don't agree. And if you do so, you can face the future with certainty and with confidence, knowing that the
Elon's
nation
not working
stands
there, like,
behind
all
each of
4
you.
years, Mittens.
And that, to me, is the great magic
I think
of
it's like a 6-month
democracy.
thing.
It's not in these stone buildings or beautiful
see.
hotels. It's not even in the great institutions that we have built together as a shared society.
Sword fighting.
To believe in democracy is to understand that each of our citizens has wisdom and has a voice.
Not
And if we
possible.
refuse to listen to that voice, even our most successful fights will secure very little. As Pope John Paul II, in my view, one of the most extraordinary champions of democracy on this continent or any other,
I
once
put up with
said,
100 gays rather than like one of those fucking trans freaks.
We'll get to some of those in a minute.
Like I've had friends before. They were, they were cool as shit, dude. But
Some of those, did you see some of those trans activists that want sanctuary
Did you see that fucking
trans place?
Did you see that thing?
Yeah, man. We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
do not be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid of our people, even when they express views that disagree with their leadership.
They're freaking out.
Thank you all. Good luck to all of you. God bless you.
Good luck to all of you.
Good luck to all of you.
And that was J.D. Vance, the U.S. Vice President, addressing the Munich Security Conference. The Vice President
Romania canceled their election,
railing
right?
against
Well,
numerous...
the thing
What
is,
the
like,
fuck, dude?
look, parts of the UK were meant to have an election, and our government have just fucking cancelled all of those elections, and they're not allowed to do that. They were worried that this fucking Nigel Farage's party's going to get in.
Yeah,
He's very
look it up.
popular.
Now they have to wait to vote again in May. But a couple days, I think, is it a couple days ago or today? I believe the person who like is in there now or was in that the public was telling him to get the fuck out. I think he left a couple days ago. No,
I don't know, dude. I know there's
and now there's like somebody, that's like. He's not called the president. He's called he's an overlooker, but he doesn't have any power, and they're going to vote again in May.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Look, Zelensky has cancelled elections in Ukraine.
Because they used the democratic fucking bullshit of Russian disinformation.
They won't, he refuses to have an election in Ukraine. People want it. They would vote his ass out. A lot of people in Ukraine don't like what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't like that little fuck, dude. I think he's a little weasel.
Yeah, he's trying to sell his fucking country from underneath his people's feet.
Yeah.
Offering it up to fucking America, saying, come and have
Let me tell you
all of
something.
our...
If you offered him $100 billion tomorrow and everybody in the country had to be bombed, he'd take it.
Yeah, of course he would, as long as he was safe.
But remember at one point he was like everybody's hero.
Dude, Look, we'll get to that. So we'll watch him running around crying in a minute.
Whereas legal decisions.
Because it gets a lot worse for him, dude. Like, did you see the other where JD Vance basically said, "Look, you guys are on your own."
Within the European Union, particularly surrounding issues of free speech, suggesting that the biggest threat to Europe is not from without, but it is
Ukraine's
from
not in
within.
NATO. We shouldn't be helping them.
He was suggesting that migration is
not our fucking problem.
Zelensky's now saying he wants a European army.
He can kiss my ass.
There should be a European army.
He's
But dude,
idiot.
it's like, fuck
Who is
you.
he? Yeah, fuck you, dude. Go worry about Chernobyl, you fuck.
Yeah, trying to blame that on the Russians. I'm sorry. I know, like, I don't buy that for one fucking second.
Dude, that's like the fifth time they said that.
You got all these fucking world leaders there, like, lining up to stop your fucking money, and all of a sudden, a rocket hits fucking
Chernobyl. A drone hits Chernobyl.
Come on.
The fuck up. Shut the fuck up, dude.
I've never heard so much fucking horse.
That shit's not even like going anymore anyway.
No, well, one of them is. But
Barely.
it hit the reactor that blew up, and it's got like a concrete thing over it.
Yeah.
Just find, where did Vance...
Again, we should worry about fucking here, home. We have our own problems.
Yeah.
If a NATO country gets in a war with some, then that's a different story. We're obligated, but we don't need to give this little prick another Bugatti. I think in the next 5 years he'll be assassinated. Don't play over there, bro.
So I'm just looking for this where he tells Zelensky basically that, you know, you're on your own, pal. I've got it here somewhere, I'm sure I have.
Is that recently?
Yeah.
Huh.
This is it. I've saved so many things.
So now I wonder where I've been. I heard your God was a carpenter. Well, guess what? So am I. You ever watch Vikings? Huh?
No. I thought Jesus was a carpenter.
Really?
Yeah. That's what they say, isn't it?
Oh, so that's why he's. Oh, so that's why he said that.
Who?
His name is. Oh shit! Hold on. Give me 1 second. I gotta think real hard. His name is Floki.
Floki?
Yeah, I mean, all these guys were real, like back in the Vikings days. But there's a TV show called Vikings based off of Ragnar Lothbrok, and it's just a badass show, bro. Like 10 times better than fucking what's it called? Game of Thrones or whatever. I don't like all that fantasy shit. I like real shit.
I've never seen
Me neither.
Game of Thrones.
I just know they have dragons and shit. I'm not about that.
They came expecting to hear.
Oh, you know that? You know that, Cockney? I never no chick to watch that.
About global threats and how to end Russia's war in Ukraine.
Said it right,
Instead,
Cockney,
Donald
yeah.
Trump's deputy blasted his allies over the state of democracy in Europe, accusing them of censorship and attacks on free speech.
In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town. And under Donald
it's
Trump's
Firecock.
leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree.
Germany's defense minister making no attempt to hide his displeasure.
Democracy does not mean that a vociferous minority will automatically be right and they cannot decide what truth is. It does not mean that anyone can say anything, and democracy must be able to defend itself against extremists that try to destroy it.
The clash reflects growing friction between Europe and the new White House as world leaders gather for an annual security conference in Munich. The fate of Ukraine most acutely on everyone's mind. Donald Trump's top envoys held their first meeting with the Ukrainian president.
We need to speak more, to work more, and
Shut
to
up.
prepare the plan.
Give me all of your monies.
It's important for us to get together and start to have the conversations that are going to be necessary to bring this thing to a close.
But Volodymyr Zelensky is in a bind, reliant on American support,
Where is
yet
that?
resolved
That
to
speech
stick to his
somewhere.
own
He's
red
like 4'7".
lines. Will you or anyone from your
It's
delegation be meeting any of the Russians?
Oh my
any
God.
Russians here? Donald Trump said there's going to be meetings here in Munich.
He's a dwarf.
Is that happening?
First of all, I don't want to meet just with Russians just to meet. For what? No, we
You
see
give
the
me your
order
money.
Meetings, as I
He has
said,
little
the
man
order
syndrome.
is
Now I get it.
United States,
Yeah,
Europe,
he's tiny,
and
dude.
Russia.
He was an
Ready
actor.
to the meeting. Be ready to this meeting. That is the first.
Give me
There's
monies.
a real concern
Give me
here that
monies.
Europe is being sidelined and Ukraine's future put
And
at
I
risk
and I heard
by
that they're
Donald
selling
Trump's
like
plans for
half the
peace talks
fucking
with
shit
Russia.
we send them
One diplomat
to other
said
countries.
me, it's a disaster.
So they're not getting any more money, dude. Like half the shit we send them, they're selling.
They lost $100 million.
See what I mean?
How do you just lose $100 million and be like, all right with that?
They don't, man. Every American should be pissed. Fucking A, dude. And you guys are giving them money too, no?
Yeah.
All
But
right.
not as much as you lot. This is the problem. This
Well,
is why
no, no
JD
shit.
Vance has said to him, you need to step up because you guys pay 5% GDP or something and we pay 2%.
I think we're at like 3.4 or something. And
Yeah.
everybody else at like 1 or 2.
Where is that? I'm fucking sure I had it saved. Where he's speaking to Zelensky before that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically tells Zelensky, look, you know, we're definitely not going to get troops. You're not. Oh no, it was Hegseth. That was it.
Listen,
It was Pete Hegseth.
we're putting troops in fucking Gaza before we put troops in Ukraine. Are you kidding me? Especially
So-
now. Especially, listen, if you told me Trump was thinking about putting troops in Gaza like tomorrow, he came out and said it, right now, what I learned today, I'd support it 100%. I didn't know they had American hostages. So why the fuck aren't we going over there to get them? Isn't
So
that
the-
like our motto?
Well, I guess it's in the pipeline. Trump keeps making threats, doesn't he? But the problem is that if
Well, he
you,
said he's going to back whatever the RDF's doing. Which
yeah, exactly, because
is
they
a-
know that if you do anything brash, then they'll just kill
Listen,
all
bro.
of the.
Listen. If
They'll
you-
kill all of those hostages.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a sticky situation, which is why they took hostages in the first place to do this.
Exactly. And if you piss them off too much, they will just kill them because they don't care because they know you're going to bomb them anyway. Either way,
Yeah,
so.
and then Trump looks like the bad guy for
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's a very
Yeah.
difficult situation. But once you get all of the hostages back, then yeah,
So-
I can imagine that Trump's going to make it rain over there.
I'd send the A-10s over. You
So
ever
this
seen one of
is
them?
Warthog. Yeah, the
Yeah,
noise of that
so-
thing's awesome, dude.
It's like a gun with a fucking plane on it.
You hear it when the troops on the ground and they're like,
Yeah,
filmed.
dude. And if you hear that,
That
it
delay.
wasn't meant for you.
Yeah.
That shit rips people up, dude. It's crazy.
So this is a British media reaction to this speech. They've headlined, "The speech was unhinged. JD Vance launches harsh attack on Europe."
Give me, Mark.
Let's listen to what these goons have to say. But I just
I think
wanted
that
to
was the
point.
whole UN meeting or something,
look,
right?
You got over 4,000 comments on this. 14 hours, they've had 167,500 views, so it's fairly credible. 4,000 comments. So look, mine's top one. Make Britain great again. Look at that, make Britain great again. So basically, people on here were like, nothing unhinged about what Vance said. He was simply telling the truth.
Yeah, why would they
UK
put up
media-
hands?
The UK media is having a meltdown because JD spoke the truth. He spoke for millions of Europeans. We never voted for our homelands to be colonised. JD Vance certainly spoke for me. I'm grateful he had the courage to speak up for me. I'm British and I'm very grateful. JD Vance didn't attack anyone. He just said the truth. I haven't heard such an impressive speech from a Western politician for 40 years. You're wrong.
It was a good speech, man.
One of these talking heads in a minute says that the speech was for the American people. This person says, you're wrong, it wasn't for the American audience, it was for you. Why don't you listen? Americans already know this, and that's why they voted for strength and common sense. It's for you Europeans to get a grip. Agreed. The last time a politician spoke like this was in the 70s or 80s. This speech was just a politician should be. Clear, concise and transparent. Unhinged? Attack? What is this? I live in the UK. I heard his speech and I, and most people I know, agreed with every single word of it.
Yeah.
He spoke facts and common sense. JD Vance is absolutely correct. His speech shouldn't be ignored by Europeans. Britain, you do not have free speech. You are this close to losing your country. Please take it back. JD Vance was 100% bang on point. Massive respect and thanks to him.
So,
Vice President JD Vance is bloody brilliant. Yeah, this is a UK.
What channel was that? Is that like something in only?
No, it's I'll show you.
UK channel.
Yes, UK TV or something. It's called.
Oh, okay.
It's like a new talk TV. It's like a news.
So can you just show me even a picture or just maybe a little video of who's running your country right now, so I have an idea of, like, because if if I was like, hey, our border's open, we have trannies running crazy, this, that, and the third, and I show you Joe Biden and Kamala, you'd be like, okay, I get it. So is there something you can show me where I can understand what's going on over there?
I'm
curious.
Show you in a minute.
I always thought it was just a king and a queen, but obviously they don't have any saying anything.
No, I'll show you in a minute.
So you guys
So
confuse me.
basically, look, these 4,000 odd comments on this video are all basically saying Vance is the man, fantastic speech, thank you. And this is mainly British and European people commenting on this.
Good.
Saying that they agree with it and blah,
you
blah,
guys
blah. There's
are the V
nobody
for
in
vendetta.
here saying that...
You guys are fucking V, man. Like, you guys should be all about ripping apart the fucking government.
We are. I think we're getting there.
And how y'all, what are y'all celebrating the 5th of November for every fucking year? You're sitting there doing nothing.
Should we talk about, if you are just waking up this morning, these are extraordinary.
Yeah, so this is, this was a Talk TV. These are two talking heads. The usual crap. Bad shirt. She's wearing some sort of cricket or tennis outfit there. Very British.
Send the train down with some fireworks on it, bro. Do something.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, I'll show you the clip in a minute of what the farmers did, because they're trying to. So now they're increasing inheritance tax on farms. So if you leave your farm to your child, your child and your farm is worth over $1 million. Which, let's be fair, 9 out of 10 farms are worth over $1 million. So if you leave your farm to your child then has to pay inheritance tax.
Wow.
So farmers are tight as fuck anyway. Do you know what I mean? They make very little money, and the land is basically their only commodity. They went nuts, dude. There's like millions of, well, not millions, but thousands of tractors turned up and blocked off all the streets in London last weekend.
Good.
Yeah, I'll show you that. So let's listen to these two talking heads for a second, and just get their reaction on the, on the speech that we just heard.
Ordinary headlines. I saw this speech by JD Vance yesterday and my mouth dropped open. In fact, there was someone this morning who said, I'm absolutely furious at what JD Vance said. I'm furious because it took an American politician to say something that no one is brave enough to say in the UK. Let me just show you these headlines this morning. Daily Telegraph, Vance, free speech in Britain is in retreat. The Times, Vance tells Europe to clean up its own mess. The Guardian, Vance launches blistering attack on Europe's leaders. Let me just tell you what he said. Just wait for this. JD Vance has warned Britain that mass migration and the erosion of free speech pose a greater threat than Russia. Just take that on board for a moment. This is at the Munich Security Conference, and of course he was there to talk about Ukraine, as far as I could see. And what
the thing is, Meanie, that on farms they always had an exclusion from inheritance tax, because obviously you want farmers to keep producing. And farms generally exist because they get passed on through family generations. So it's like every time the farm gets handed down to a family member, they have to pay inheritance tax on the value of the farm. And it's like, they haven't had to do that for a long time. I get the point. Maybe they should pay some tax on it, like everyone else has to pay some inheritance tax, but I don't know. They didn't like it anyway. So if they can do that, if the farmers can get off and drive their tractors to London, then yeah.
So if you had to compare this like network to one of our networks over here, what would you compare it to? It's just like a
Maybe
more
like
of
a
a Fox or a MSNBC.
Newsmax, maybe something like that. Newsmax.
So they're not like
News
far
Nation.
left
I mean,
or-
well, they got 1.2 mil subscribers on here, so they're probably what, News Nation-ish.
Okay, I just trying to get an understanding of.
I'm not. I don't think they're like lefties.
Okay,
But I
it
don't
doesn't
think
seem like the way he's speaking.
No, they're kind of like, I don't know. Let's have a listen and see what you think of their opinion anyway. But
the end point was going to be what the solution for Ukraine is. But no, he laid into Britain in particular, saying free speech was in retreat and Brexit voters had been betrayed by elites, opening the floodgates to millions of unvetted migrants. He is right. And he went further. He told world leaders, the threat I worry about the most vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China or any other external actor. What I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat from Europe on some of its most fundamental values shared by the United States of America. Cue this sort of tumbleweed going past. I think the European leaders just didn't quite know what to do with themselves.
Excuse the expression, but the speech went down like a cup of cold.
Yes,
I would suggest. In Europe, I mean,
that's a horrible
I suppose
saying.
your audience.
Did you hear what she said? Such a horrible saying. She said the speech went down like a cup of cold sick.
If you're there in Munich at a security conference,
Or
telling
was it just
Europeans,
priceless?
my view is it was more for an American audience. I do think it was played. I do think, and then I think some of the jokes.
So P Fox, it's basically the same thing. It's like that's all they are. They're being taxed on the land that they're inheriting. So the value of the farm is basically the value of the land and whatever, isn't it? But they've been excluded from the inheritance tax for forever. But now the government are trying to screw them and they don't like it.
Particularly that went, I mean, it was tumbleweed, were, one about Greta Thunberg, how the Americans have had to deal with her for 10 years. Europe should suck up Elon Musk for 3 months. I find this really, really interesting. One, I think it's a microcosm of things are different now. It was a speech that says you were expecting us to come here, to play by the rules, to, press palms and, thank our hosts and talk about Ukraine, which was on everybody's thoughts. Some people have called it a weird speech. Some people have said it was unhinged. But it was setting their own agenda. And I think we have to get used to that. Whether you like Trump or Vance or this new regime, is not almost neither here nor there. What they've done is held up a mirror to Europe and said, before you start, having a go and lording it over everybody else, take a look at what you're doing. And it is not lost that it was a...
It's like, take a look at yourself.
Like, I mean, dude, when we look back on this in the future...
This has got to be like... People really do want all of this change, and I think even the people that are trying to pretend to be shocked are actually a bit relieved, because all of the woke bollocks it must be so hard to maintain.
It has to be.
You know what I mean? It's like a full-time drag queen, isn't it? Having to put all that crap on every day. Like, it's what it's like. It's trying to live in some weird existence. Yeah. And it's like you can sort of take a deep breath now and be back to reality, back to normal.
Speech given in a city that I believe the day before, was it? Someone ploughed into people in a street, and it's becoming actually sadly quite a common occurrence across Europe. Now, I have complained about the Trump regime for all of this talk about tariffs and, taking over Greenland or whatever they want to do, and having just spent quite a lot of time in America, there are a huge number of problems that America need to look at within their own borders, right? And I think that they should be doing that. But I think equally Europe need to do the same thing. It's like the lessons of Brexit were never...
What is she talking about? We made Mexico send 10,000 troops.
So, she's talking about like your own core stuff in your country. You know what I mean? Like, every country's got its own issues that it needs to deal with. She's talking about your crime, your drugs, whatever.
Okay, we can still worry about that and take some land.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Bro, everybody's been taking land for fucking years. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, especially us English. I mean, we at one point
get on board.
At one point, we had, what was it, 84? Like, we basically ruled 84 countries in the world at one point.
Yeah, that's not. You guys were big.
Yeah, now we're just a tiny little island, but
exactly
still got a lot of, still got a lot of pull in the world for some reason.
Learned.
Well, they weren't.
And they weren't learned. Because what happens, and you saw it with the speeches that were given afterwards, is immediately people go, he's wrong, he's talking rubbish, how dare he come here into our backyard and tell us a few home truths. But that's the reality, there are a few home truths. And it is what people across Europe are thinking and is being borne out in the polls. And it's very interesting. He name-checked, and this is in the Times, I believe, today, an article, or a Telegraph, with Adam Smith Connor. I don't know if you remember him, but back in October, he was convicted for praying silently outside an abortion clinic in November 2022. He was within a zone and he had to pay £9,000 for breaching a ban on protest. He was silently praying. And I think it's an example, and don't get me wrong, I think there's an element of theobros, they're calling it, the spread of Christianity and protection of Christianity in America. And we know that this Vance is particularly, having been a converted Catholic, is very keen on pushing. But it is, there are too many cases of this where the public in the UK and across Europe are deeply concerned.
Yes, I would
haven't, Meg, but
and
I
what
will
they
at some
should do
point.
is, rather than go, Vance is crazy, Trump is crazy, is go, actually, was the old way of working? The tariffs is a really good example, just ever so briefly, because what it forces us to do, and I don't agree with it, and I actually don't think it's legal according to World Trade Organization rules to single out certain countries. However, I do think we need to look at where our products are coming from.
I would agree.
You know, can we buy British? Can we, you know?
I've seen a flat earther
and I think the old world order
silenced. I saw a flat earther get silenced one time.
I don't even bother watching any of the discussions about these flat earthers and everything else, because the world is so obviously a globe.
Exactly.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, that's like having a conversation with somebody trying to determine whether or not there's more than two genders. You know, unfortunately, there are only two genders. The Earth is a globe. I mean, those kind of conversations to me are just pointless. So I don't generally pay much attention to it. Do you know what I mean? I generally think that
all this shit, everything, dude, everything, government, every single thing that fucking we do is basically made up by somebody that just introduced it into this world, and now it just exists. Because at one point, fucking none of this shit was here, dude. You know, people were running around fucking tracking animals down to eat and fucking living in caves. So, like, all this shit, money and shit, that didn't exist.
No.
It's a construct.
You're right.
You know, we're $36 trillion in debt. Who the fuck do we owe?
Well, you owe people money, but yet you're sending them. The way the system works, dude, it's just messed up.
Who gets the money? The machines? Are we gonna put fucking paper back in the machine? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
Well, it's not backed by gold anymore. Nothing's backing the fucking money. It's backed by trust. It says on the bill.
Yeah, well, your money is. Most of the rest of the world.
I speak for my country. You know?
Exactly, like the sensible world out there is still backed by gold and commodities. Not like your country.
What's gold? If me and you bring one asteroid to Earth, we'd have enough gold. We'd be the richest people in the world. If me and you can get an asteroid, because it's just a material.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Or like a pile of, like, it's just something that somebody at some point has decided to be valuable.
Exactly.
It's like if you could find a pile of whale puke on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worth millions because some fool decided that it's worth millions. It's whale puke, but it's worth millions. You know.
So that's why, you know.
It's just dumb. It's just something that somebody at some point has decided is valuable. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't really make sense when you think about it, but I guess at some point in history when, you know, the Spanish people went and killed all the Incas and stole their gold, they did it for a reason.
What I find fascinating is when the Constitution was written, you could tell just from how it's written that they knew at some point it was going to try to be weaponized. You know, the government, and that's why all the, you know, it's stuff's written in there to protect us, the people, from these fucking tyrants.
Exactly, that's why it says in there, we the people.
Exactly.
All of your rights are to protect you about, you know, from the government. That's what it's about. It's like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Flat earthers do make more sense than gilters. That's because flat earthers can't go around in circles. Whereas gilters do that all day long.
I think the name was I mean, everybody was Pangea at one point. I think the name was, if I'm not mistaken. Pangea is the name of when all the tectonic plates were like connected, and then fucking everybody split apart. Now that's why you're over there and I'm over here. We used to be connected.
Yeah, this, like, England was connected to Europe, and but not in a way that you think. There was a land.
Is that right, man?
Like,
See that?
the sea level was different, but it was called Doggerland. It's interesting. Like, you're right. You can see where, like, different continents would definitely fit back together. You don't
think there were dinosaurs, Mark?
What's that?
I mean, she said people believe there. The reason I believe there were dinosaurs is because look at a fucking alligator or a crocodile.
I mean, I believe they're dinosaurs.
I definitely believe there were bigger fucking things here than that.
I mean, how can you argue against all of the bones and the shit that they found?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, when I look at a crocodile, dude, that thing looks, and I just imagine that thing standing up.
Well, it is a dinosaur.
Like a bear.
Yeah, but they say that crocodiles are around like millions of years anyway. Some animals have been around for millions of years.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't understand that. Like, people, how can you dispute that dinosaurs are alive at this point when there's like literal
I never knew those
skeletons and bones and skulls and, you know, all of that. I don't know.
Yeah, because all that shit's in like museums, right?
Well, yeah, and you can literally, like, I've watched documentaries of people digging up the bones.
Yeah, it's true.
It's hard to dispute that when there's stuff like that in front of you. I mean, I don't think that it's like, I don't know. There's stuff like that I find odd. I find it odd that people would not believe that dinosaurs.
Now I'm curious how many countries have found dinosaur bones.
Well, you have quite a lot in America. We've had some here.
Okay, so then, yeah, we're not going to bullshit each other then.
No, it's like, you know, in Alaska and stuff, I think it's Alaska, isn't it? Or Mongolia or somewhere cold, where they have permafrost. They found like frozen woolly mammoths and stuff, and they.
Yeah, it's not like they're telling us there were fucking dragons, you know?
Exactly.
Which a pterodactyl, you know, is just a big fucking bird, but they didn't say it, you know, there's fire coming out of its mouth. Like, they didn't go crazy, so why would they make that shit up?
I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't know. I just find things like that a strange argument, but maybe not. I don't know.
Mark, I'm very surprised you don't believe that there were dinosaurs. That's crazy.
And why don't you believe that there were dinosaurs, Omar? What is it that makes you think that they're not realistic? Like,
I'm curious what society gets out of there being dinosaurs in the past. Like, who gives a shit if there was or wasn't?
Yeah, I mean, so where did the bones and shit come from? The fossils and the.
Why would they make?
Yeah.
Yeah, why would they make?
I don't know. I'd say it's a bit more.
That's the first time I ever heard somebody say there wasn't dinosaurs. That's why I'm curious.
I have heard people say that before, but I've always assumed it was people that people don't believe in the.
What?
Because they say like, well, where are they now, and all that kind of shit. Or,
what fucking?
I don't know. But then it's like, I don't really know. I don't know the.
Where's the Roman Empire?
Well, we're here, aren't we?
Well, yeah, but all those fucking people are gone.
Well, not really.
What the fuck do you mean? Civilizations were wiped out.
Yeah, well, that was like volcanoes and shit. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But that was like, you know, you're talking about like Pompeii and all that kind of shit now. Let's listen to more of these goons.
Europe has relied for too many years, decades in fact, on Americans coming in and saving the financial day when it comes to war. We wrote too many checks with Ukraine, and this is talking about Ukraine, expanding out because that's on the front covers a lot of papers, is we made promises that we couldn't really keep because American funding has been backing us up. 100%. And it's about time that we took a look and actually, can we protect ourselves? How is it that Russia, with an economy smaller than Italy, we as an entire Europe couldn't stand up to Russia?
Whoa, there are so many parts.
I don't think Russia's economy was smaller than Italy's. I don't believe that's true. Maybe wrong. But then, I guess Italy make Ferraris.
Russia seems like they're doing all right to me.
Yeah, they have a lot of very rich people.
Parts to this conversation. No, there are so many parts to this conversation.
I've taken so many front covers there.
Well, you have really, and I do want to break all of that down bit by bit if we
don't
can.
have many rich people either.
Let's just go back, if I may, just to the whole kind of overview.
Maybe Maori's a flat earther. That's how they got the phone pings wrong. They didn't allow for the curvature of the Earth.
With you.
I just want to know.
Essentially,
flat earthers'
he is
theory when the
siding with the
eclipse happens.
masses who believe exactly what he believes in.
Yeah, these things are quite interesting, but again, it fascinates me to. What fascinates me more is the fact that people believe it.
Is that moon flat then? I'm confused.
I just don't know. That's what I mean. That's what fascinates me is that people genuinely like go balls
so wait,
out.
They think there's just like we're on a flat fucking
on a flat disc or something,
and then there's stuff above us, just like
I don't know. I've not really looked into it that much. I mean, I know people believe in flat Earth, but I've never I've never really looked into it because I think most of these people are probably just taking the piss.
I went to school.
Yeah, the moon is cheese. I've heard the moon is hollow. I've heard that, we've never ever seen the backside of the moon either, the dark side of the moon, which is probably true actually.
Yeah, probably.
We've never seen like one side of the moon. Man, that's never
fucking crazy over there.
So yeah, I mean, it could be all sorts going on over there, can it? Who knows? But the moon is a projection.
Like I said, if you just take all this shit out of the equation, we're just fucking beings on a rock in the middle of infinity, trying to figure out how to enjoy our consciousness until death, right?
Yeah, look, we're just...
That's really all we are.
But the thing is, we don't live a fulfilled, happy life. If we did, we'd just live a free life.
Shit.
We'd live totally free.
But it's because of all the stuff that has been put in our society that gives us this anxiety and all this shit where, since this stuff didn't exist, we probably would fucking enjoy life more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did hear
bills, debt, everything fucking people take on, you know what I mean?
But this is the thing, innit? It's if you take away the money and the ownership and all of that bollocks out of society again, then people are free. No person should have to get up at a certain time every day, go to a job to satisfy other fucking people, to pay bills for things that are too expensive, to wear out your body doing the same shit day in, day out, mind-numbing, fucking
then take
boring bullshit.
So basically, it's like half
and then
slavery.
You die.
Yeah, so basically, it's like half slavery
you have
because
kids.
They take back half of what they give you.
Yeah. And then the thing is, you have kids and you teach them that this is the normal shit. This is what human beings do.
And they make trans sesame fucking streets in Iraq.
Yeah.
With my tax money.
What kind of life is it, though?
Thanks.
Willie, this is what exactly goes through my mind at the moment. Now that I've got to the age I'm at. It's like, what is the fucking point of life if you don't just do whatever the fuck you want to do, because you're going to die.
That's what I said to you, bro. You're
not going to live forever, so just do what the fuck you want to do. What's the worst?
Constant beings on a rock.
Just don't kill people, but you know what I'm saying? Well, unless killing people is your thing, but, you know, people should just be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly, except within reason, you know, no killing people, any of that shit, but, like, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We should be free. We're here for not a very long time. We should get to see and embrace every part of this place that we live. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
We confine ourselves to these little boxes that we build and fill them with material bollocks that we go out and slave our fucking bodies away for. And for what? For what?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's bullshit, dude. You lie on your deathbed and all you think fucking do is regret all of the things that you haven't done in your life. Because at the time you were too busy doing what you're told to do.
Yep, and then at any point in time, they can strip you from society, take you away from all of this, put you in a fucking cage just because they found your touch DNA on a fucking movable object in a house.
Well, even if it was your DNA, we don't know that it was his DNA, to be honest. This is the other point. It's like, they didn't match it to the DNA on a knife sheath. They matched it to the profile they built in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I keep trying to say to people. It's like, if they had a match to the knife sheath, it would have been a lot easier. But they didn't. That's why they had to fuck around with, like, magic and the FBI.
Yeah.
You know, people just don't understand that. Okay, well, they don't need that. They have Turkey Boy going on about, well, the prosecution aren't going to use that anyway. It's all right. Then they explain to us, Daniel, how the fuck.
What the hell are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly. If they've got that, then they've got nothing else. It's called fruit of the poisonous tree.
That's what I'm
they
saying.
use that, everything else goes.
More evidence. Yeah, but people.
Where is it?
There's nothing else.
No, there isn't.
They
we
have
would
no
have heard
weapon.
about it by now.
No weapon, no
No
connection,
weapon.
no motive. I mean, think about it. They have nothing except this touch DNA on a movable object. So if they don't have that, that's a big deal. And the witness is compromised, right?
Yeah. And I keep saying that, look, you know, if the prosecution had got some big bomb to drop, then yeah, I'll swallow that and
They would have.
Exactly. It's like, well, I said, well, they must have some smoking gun then. They've got to have a picture of him. Like on that camera that everybody keeps going on about, the 1112, they must, you know, I thought maybe they do have a picture of him driving up, they've got it. But then we've just found that they don't have anything. They don't have a picture of him in his car, fucking anywhere near that house. They have nothing. And it's like, if they had anything else that they've already presented to the defence, we would have heard about it by now. There would have been a discussion about it, and they don't. They have nothing. It's bizarre to me.
It's very bizarre. People think that they want the fucking public to think he's innocent. No. If they had something to make us go, oh my God, then they would be like, yo, look.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, paperwork, whatever.
Well, even in one of the court hearings, you know, something would have been discussed. Something would have been talked about. That,
yeah.
You know,
they get up there and just argue with Anne. That's all they really do.
They've not disagreed with anything that Anna said about there being no connection, about there being no DNA anywhere, about you know, any of that stuff. They've not stood up there.
And Bill's the one that said he wasn't stalking them.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, when Anne's there lying, apparently saying that, oh, you know, there's no connection and there's no DNA and there's no social media connections. When she's there lying about that, the prosecution have always got the opportunity to come back and cross.
They're confirming it, though.
But they don't, because they agree with it. They always come up and agree with it.
Well, yeah,
so that whole point is fucking mute. To say that she's lying, mute.
Exactly, meaning there wouldn't be a fucking gag order. They would have lifted that shit and been like, yo, check this out. Bang, 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 bang. Just like every other case. Every other case. Think about it. Something happens. We know fucking everything.
the other thing is as well, look at the leaks or the information that's been put out from like the Gonsalves family, right? So they've been getting some information somewhere from somebody. That is a fact. However, they've not put anything out that is like damning. They what they keep banging on about is like this fucking Garrett thing, and they still believe that he was stalking them.
And what's her name? The suitcase lady. Like, we saw her whole fucking interrogation before she went to court. You know what I mean? Like, we already knew what that video was and what the interrogation was because that shit was already out.
Yeah.
Here, they don't want to release nothing. No body cam. No
nothing.
No interrogations. No nothing. Like, when you go to these documentaries, the documentary channels that they make of like these cases and shit, and you watch them all, and then you go to Idaho.
Yep.
Like,
so
the guy really doesn't say anything.
Well, like all of these other cases, you get to see like you generally get to hear the phone call, the 911 call. You'll see body cam of the arrest. You'll then see
99% of the time.
You'll then see them like interviewing the suspect. You'll see you'll see all of that way before you get to see any stuff in court. But we've seen nothing. Why? You've got to ask yourself that. Why? What at this point? Why are we not seeing anything? Who are they protecting here? Like, for real, who are they trying to protect? I mean, they keep making the excuses that they're trying to protect Brian's rights. But I don't believe the prosecution are trying to protect his rights.
People still believe nobody had a body cam on in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, bullshit.
That's laughable.
So, yeah, we know that shit as well. Because we saw where they stated that they put cameras in his fucking yard, like pointing at his house.
I got pulled over once. I was like, when the cop came here the one time, he had a body cam on. I was like, oh, you guys got body cams. But he was a statey. But I know damn well there was statey FBI. There had to be everybody there, dude. Right?
Yeah,
like,
well, it was a SWAT.
Going in just fucking.
They had the Bearcat there and everything. You're telling me none of those guys wear body cam? Because they don't wear it for entertainment purposes. They wear it for their own protection, so that they can, protect what they're doing. But when it goes to court, you know what I mean? It's to prove that they're doing everything.
Police, like, no, what the fuck?
Dude, they had a drone flying around while they were arresting him. So what? They had a drone filming that fucking Payne had a feed to. But nobody was wearing a body cam. Fuck off. You got snipers watching him. And what? No body cam. They got cameras in the yard, but what? They run out of battery that day, or where is it? Does it exist? Because all right, dude, I'm gonna play a bit more in a second.
Open the floodgates to immigration. You're not listening to the populace. You have allowed the countries to lose their democratic right. You haven't actually capitalized on Brexit. So we've got all of that going on. Now, when you look at that, he's taking the people versus the European elites, and they don't like it at all. Downing Street declined to comment, but there was a government source who said this is pretty simplistic. It's a simplistic read of a complex set of problems. We don't sit here overjoyed to hear it. No, I bet you don't like hearing it. Also, JD Vance then talked about the AFD, and of course there's been a lot of talk. So the AFD, the Alternative for Deutschland, which is a right-wing party in Germany, looks like it's going to do very well over in Germany. And of course, they're wading into European politics. So something very interesting is going on here. The Lib Dems also not very very keen on this. Britain will not take lectures about political freedoms from the acolyte of a president who tried to undermine American democracy and now praises Putin. You're not reading the room.
How useful. Comments like that just really aren't useful.
Helpful. No, they're not.
At all. At all. And it's also...
No, they're not. Just nice about the back door. Come back in a second. That's a funny comment, Scott, by the way.
A bit
Is that Kane's girlfriend? That's translucent. Kane and translucent are an item, aren't they?
I don't know. I just don't think. Yeah, you're not reading the room. You're not self-reflecting, which I think is what we actually need to do. And what actually I think Britain is very good at is a bit of navel gazing, a bit of actually can we look and think and why people are. And this is my problem, right? With and can you call it the left? I suppose is. When people go to the polls and they vote, and actually Vance in his speech did cite Brexit as an example where the democratic process worked, where people were unhappy. Now, whether you agree with it or not, the point is that people were unhappy and they voted to do something about it.
Correct.
And they are doing that across Europe. And actually, not everyone in Europe wasn't very happy. I think in Rome they were quite happy. Giorgia Meloni was okay with the speech.
Funny that,
exactly, right? So there were people, sort of segments that were okay with the speech, but I just think he is right in the fact that for too long people have been shut down for having legitimate concerns over freedom of speech, over migration, over all of these issues, which if you had engaged people and been honest with them and not put people down as being racist or whatever name you want to call people, then we might be in a very different situation. But we are still doing it. And it's not just the speech, it's the repercussions from the speech. It's the comments that people said afterwards that show lessons haven't been learned and we haven't listened to the speech at all.
No. And there's true indignation from across Europe, not from Italy, as you rightly say. Boris Pistorius, the German defence minister, sets aside the speech he had prepared. He then had a whole different speech that he actually issued as a rebuttal to J.D. Vance. He says our democracy across all of Europe was questioned by the US vice president just now. He speaks of annulment of democracy. And if I understood him correctly, he likens the conditions in parts of Europe to those in authoritarian regimes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not acceptable. Instead of actually saying, you've raised some very interesting points, it's something that we need to reflect on. Again, it's just this pushback the whole time. But I think that J.D. Vance has summed up the mood of the nation.
Look, let me be clear.
Yeah, baby.
I think he sums up part of it. It was a very popular speech, and there's certainly parts of it I don't agree with.
Light a fire under your
and
asses.
there is a discomfort, of course there is, of who are you to come here and tell us what to do? And the sad reality of this, and this is why I mentioned Ukraine, is, well, they're the money men. I'm sorry, for too
100%.
long,
Well, they
Europe have relied on the money.
Well, let's talk about NATO. So again, he has said, look, it's not acceptable. You've relied on the United States for far too long. We are the major player in NATO. You are not paying enough of your GDP, percentage of GDP, and it is not acceptable. Now, if you want to play, you pay. And he's right.
And the sad reality is UK actually have done very well in paying what they're supposed to, and they've committed to paying, whereas there are certainly other countries across Europe that haven't done so.
Not at all.
Germany, France, Italy, to name a few, billions of pounds that haven't been paid that should have been paid into. But you can understand from America's point of view here. You know, global sands are shifting. Why, you know, if you're America, you'd be thinking, hang on a minute, if my biggest threat is China, why would I be throwing so many resources into a European conflict, which Trump is like,
China,
sort it out yourself. You know, look, I just...
And of course, no US boots on the soil to keep the peace, he said.
This is the thing. And actually, whether you like the methods or not, and I leave that gap there for you to decide.
No, that's fine.
We have, to a degree, got some sort of deal going on in the Middle East. We have, to a degree, got the cogs of a deal. I mean, he is the deal man.
He is the
happening
deal man.
in Ukraine. The question I would ask, and look, you know, it's hard for me. I support Ukraine. I don't agree with a country invading another country. I think it's absolutely awful. But how many more people have to die for this war? I
understand that.
We need to come to some sort of... We have made commitments across Europe to Ukraine. Yes, we will support you, but support to a certain extent. And Ukraine have done incredibly well to get this far. You know? But this is not a war they can win. Now, I'm not saying just hand over loads of parts.
They've done ever so well. Give them a medal. Give them a little trophy. Participation.
parts of their country, they can't win it.
But they
and
think they can
certainly
win.
without US support. And I
Yo,
think
have you ate
listening to
Mad Honey
Volodymyr
yet?
Zelensky, who actually has
Mad
responded
Honey,
quite
no.
well to all the speculation about Russia
It's hard to
and
get.
Putin and Trump meeting
Really?
together, with actually, I welcome these sorts of discussions. And, you know, and it's sort of
I
with
watched one dude
dignity.
take
And I
too
think
much. I
that
don't think I wanna
we
do it.
do need to find
It's really hard to get.
a
It's not
solution to
legal.
this, because this
might
is a
stay-
war
yeah, it is.
without direct
Not real
boots
stuff.
properly on the ground, NATO
Yeah,
standing up, the whole of Europe coming
even if
together.
you go to the country
I
and come
just
back,
don't
they
see
don't
where
fuck with you
this is
custom.
going to end, except in more
Well, you gotta
bloodshed
hide it.
for innocent,
It's illegal.
you know, Ukrainians and
No, it's
Russians.
not.
And there's so
It is.
much more we need to talk about. Let me
What's
just
the
ask
drug?
you if
It's not the drug. It's the fact that you
Exactly.
can't take honey through customs.
If it's sealed, you can.
If it's what?
A little jar, bring on your fucking, carry on. I don't care. Stick in the shampoo bottle.
Don't they check all that stuff now?
I saw a dude go there and bring some home. Put in your luggage.
Yeah, that was a dude on Joe Rogan did that, didn't
Yeah.
he? He gave.
He was fucked up at the hotel. He said it was like menthol from his like head to his knees. His body felt like. and then somebody called him. Somebody called him when he was high as shit, dude, in his hotel room. I think it's funny as hell. They were like, "Did you have pork chops?" He was like, "What?" That's the worst, dude. When you're like on shrooms or LSD and like somebody like intervenes with your little world, and you're like, well, like one time I had to go into a Five Guys Burgers and order, and I only got halfway through and I ran out, dude.
Give up.
Yeah, like I looked back and I saw her laughing, and all my composure left. And I was halfway through, like telling her my order, and I ran out the door so fast, dude. I swear to God.
That's funny. Here we are. This is the one I was looking for, dude.
And then there was like a little girl by the elevator. Thought she was the devil. Oh, scarred me for life. Imagine that. Imagine being in a hotel and there's this like 4 or 5-year-old by themselves at the elevator, bro, and you're fucking twisted.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Oh yeah. I went right back in the room. Said, nope.
So this was what Pete said.
It is, Pete, and it's expensive as shit for no reason.
This caused a lot of this ruffled a few feathers as well.
I'm actually gonna go make a burger in a little bit.
Burger.
Like I said, Heather, I'm more of a LSD guy than mushrooms. To me, it's more cleaner.
Dude, I've had an air fryer for months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's actually what I'm going to use.
I've never used it.
What?
I've never used it. I got it. It's a really good one as well, like a double draw one.
See, that's all I use.
But I got it. I unboxed it. I put it in the kitchen and like.
What do you make? Where the hell do you make your food in then?
What do you mean? Well, I don't fry stuff generally.
Fry? You can bake. You can.
I get that now, but what I'm saying is, so for the first time last week, I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll try this air fryer out. And yeah, ever since then, dude, I was like, I've been cooking bacon in it every morning. And, like, yeah, it's awesome.
Cook everything in that bitch, bro. Eggs.
How can you cook eggs in there? How can you cook eggs in there?
Get tinfoil.
I've got loads of little like baskets and shit for it.
Yeah, crack a few eggs in like a little tinfoil bowl. Put that bitch in there for like 3-4 minutes, bro. Fucking bang.
Does it come out like a
fire?
Like a fried egg or like scrambled egg or what?
No, it's like no. I mean, it depends. If you mix it up, it's gonna come out. A little like.
But if you just break the egg into a little thing, will it? So you could put it in like a poacher thing, couldn't you? You could crack it into one of those little poacher things and put it in there.
That's what I'm saying. Put a little, put a little thing, put it in there, take it out, boom, eat it right away. Dip a little bread in the yolk, break that yolk with the fucking toast. Oh yeah.
I do that's the other thing I've been doing. I haven't eaten eggs for years.
Oh,
but for some reason, like the other day,
thank God.
The other day I thought I just really fancy some eggs. So like since then I've been eating like 6 eggs a day.
Yeah, see here it's like $100
3 for breakfast. Yeah, it's still quite cheap.
That might be the new thing. I'm gonna start smuggling in eggs.
Do you know it's like it's cheaper to buy a chicken than it is to buy 6 eggs in your country.
Probably.
Do you know that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right?
You think?
Kane's probably around somewhere. I don't know. I know some people are hanging out in Frank's channel, trying to suggest that he's got Truth Exposed in there. My OG number. She's my OG #1 fan, and she's in there reliving.
Actually watching him.
She's in there reliving those beautiful moments where she said to Detective John that apparently I do stuff with peanut butter so that Tyson will lick my balls or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Just, that's all they've got on me is like some absolute horse shit that it's just utter nonsense. This is why I know he's got nothing.
With fucking John.
Stupid, like...
I
was on a live before I even had my channel. I think we were on a live. I was on a live with Nelly, and I was like, "Oh look, Tyson's asleep next to me," and he was on his back with his legs in the air, and it's like it zoomed in on his balls. So since then, she thinks I'm obsessed with Tyson's balls.
People are fucking weird.
She's just, but that's what I mean. If that's all they've got, and I've like bring it. You know what I mean? Viv is not innocent. Viv is a cunt. Viv is a cunt with a capital C.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
She's fucking annoying too. She's like, "Look what I found in the grocery store." Bitch, nobody cares. Seriously, dude. Fucking big body bitch.
She did a video.
I didn't mean a last shot there.
I've got all of these people blocked, so I don't I've got her blocked. I've got Jeff blocked now. It's like, I don't see their comments. All I see is like other people engaging with her, and it's hilarious. And I saw that she made a video or something about DNA in the sheath or whatever. And she said something about how the buckle swab matched to the DNA on a knife sheath. And I just commented, "But did it though?"
God, you know she got a big bag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Order.
Order.
Good afternoon to you all.
Why is it so quiet?
Let me welcome you all to the 26th meeting of the Ukraine Defence Contact Group.
Who's Tyson? Who are you?
46 nations and partners in the room this afternoon at 1 week's notice. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making yourself available. A coalition stretching from the Indo-Pacific to South America.
Jeff's annoying.
And it's a pleasure to be joined by...
I'm actually glad I haven't had to fucking put up with it.
I just can't be bothered anymore. I see him annoying everyone.
He just tired you out, dude. It's like, shut up already.
UDCG. Pete,
over the last couple of weeks,
fucking videos.
I think over the last couple of weeks, he's like literally done Meg's head in. He's done Fitz's head right in. But you go to some channels and they're just prepared to give him a pat, like I was for a long, long time. It's like, oh yeah, but he's nice and he's harmless. And it's like, he's not really, because like he's a complete fucking snake.
He's annoying.
He goes into Lana's chat distracting, and then like gets pissed off when he gets blocked. But then he'll go into like
brings zero value to the comment.
Fucking DT's chat talking shit about her.
About his videos.
You don't need to find Frank's channel.
Look at my overlay of his Sonata. Shut up.
Friends, we meet at a moment of great consequence.
Look at my dick.
2025 is the critical year for the war in Ukraine.
This dude's so quiet.
Ukrainians continue to fight with huge courage.
Is it quiet for you, Doc?
Military and civilians alike.
Yeah.
I'm only hearing it.
Their bravery
Right.
fused with our support,
It's a little
has
quiet,
proved
mate.
a lethal combination.
Hopefully Hegseth will be louder.
Putin
You
believed he would
Americans
win
are
this
usually a
war in
lot
3
louder.
days.
I wish I had
But
like.
now, nearly
Y'all's
3
accent.
years
I
on,
like it.
850,000 Russians have been
Well,
killed
you mean speak
or
properly.
wounded. But while
Man,
Russia is weakened, it remains
You got it
undeniably
proper.
dangerous
Me, I
and is
found
slowly
it funny.
taking ground. President Trump and President Zelensky
Like a
have both
slight hit of
spoken
Down
of their
syndrome.
desire to achieve peace
That's
and
right.
strength.
What did you say?
And it's the
I
commitments
don't know what I thought
here
I
from
heard you
this
say,
contract
so I'm not going to repeat it.
that provide the strength to achieve that.
Shane McGillis comes to mind.
And our
Let Pete talk.
on other
Let's hear Pete
recognize
talk.
this danger. U.S. defense.
For your leadership. Good afternoon, friends. Thank you, Secretary Healy, for your
quiet.
leadership, both in hosting and now leading the UDCG. This is my first Ukraine Defense Contact Group, and I'm honored to join all of you today.
I love this
And
dude.
I appreciate the opportunity to share President Trump's approach to the war
Yeah,
in
he went
Ukraine.
jogging with the fucking troops and shit.
We are at,
Still
as you said,
today, everywhere he's
Secretary,
been
a
so far,
critical
he's done that.
moment. As the war approaches its 3rd anniversary,
Lead
our
by
message
example.
is clear. The bloodshed must stop.
That's what I mean, dude. Like,
This
our
war
leaders used to be fucking,
must end.
you know, war heroes
President
and
Trump
shit.
has been clear with the American people and with many of your leaders.
You too.
That stopping the
He's
fighting
young as well, isn't
and
he?
reaching
He's
an
not-
enduring
Is he
peace
like
I mean,
40s?
is a
You
top
got some gray.
priority.
Yeah.
He intends
Dude,
to end
I've
this war by
fairly grey
diplomacy
since I was in my
and bringing
40s.
both Russia
That's
and
what I say, he's not like
Ukraine
30.
to the table.
No, he's in his
And the
40s.
US
He's
Department of
got
Defense
about 9 kids
will
and
help
about
achieve this
15 wives.
Jesus.
We will only end
He's been
this
married.
devastating
This
war
guy loves problems,
and
bro.
establish a durable peace.
I never understood that. Like,
by
once
coupling
you learn your
allied
lesson,
strength
I don't
with
understand
a
people just keep fucking doing it
realistic
over and over.
Assessment of the battlefield.
Exactly.
We
Why are
want,
you always
like
so
you,
bad at this?
a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
That's right.
Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. A durable peace for
Russia just
Ukraine
wants to go
must
away, and that's all.
include robust security guarantees to ensure
Belong
that
to
the
him anyway.
war will not begin again. This must not be Minsk 3.0. That said, the United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
That's not happening.
Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops.
That would cause Russia
If
to really
these
get
troops are
pissed.
deployed as peacekeepers to Ukraine at any point, they should be deployed as part of a non-NATO mission, and they should not be covered under Article 5. There also must be robust international oversight of the line of contact. To be clear, as part of any security guarantee, there will not be U.S. troops deployed to Ukraine. To further enable effective diplomacy and drive down energy prices that fund the Russian war machine, President Trump is unleashing American energy production and encouraging other nations to do the same. Lower energy prices, coupled with more effective enforcement of energy sanctions, will help bring Russia to the table. Safeguarding European security must be an imperative for European members of NATO.
You know what?
As part of this,
What I like about all of these speeches and shit so far, right? From Vance and from him, and you
They got
remember that?
balls.
Yeah, and they're addressing world leaders here, right? And they're confident. He's confident in what he's saying. That he's not red-faced. He's not flustered.
Yeah, they're not
He's-
reading off a fucking card.
Yeah, he knows that what he's saying is, you know, a reality check, and it's just real, you know.
Europe must provide
Frank is a
an
nobody, Mark.
overwhelming share of future lethal and non-lethal aid to Ukraine.
Some
Members
vampire
of
in
this
Netherlands.
contact group must meet
What he
the
is.
moment. This means donating more ammunition and
That
equipment,
sounds a bit
leveraging
flattering,
comparative advantages, expanding your defense industrial base, and importantly, leveling with your citizens about the threat facing Europe. Part of this is speaking frankly with your people about how this threat can only be met by spending more on defense. 2% is not enough. President Trump has called for 5%, and I agree.
Bump it up, bitch.
Our guy already came out and said, well, we're going to try and put it up to 2.5%. Dude, I don't want to even fucking pay that. I don't think we should pay that. We fucking voted to get out of Europe.
Of what, NATO?
No, but NATO needs us more than we need them. We design all the fucking engines that go in all your aeroplanes.
Yeah, but the problem is if you get attacked with no help, you guys are fucked.
Yeah,
you know it.
But we're fucked anyway. Look, if we get attacked, in these days of nuclear weapons, dude, if we get attacked full stop, we're fucked.
It's not
just
nuclear.
it's the end game.
I mean, there's 2 wars going on right now that are non-nuclear. So what are you talking about? Why does it have to go right to nuclear? Say a non-nuclear war, you guys are getting your ass kicked. Right?
How? Well, no, not really.
What?
How are we going to get our asses kicked in a non-nuclear war? We didn't in World War II.
Dude, you guys versus, like, say China, you guys are done.
Yeah, but how are China going to invade us? How are they going to...
Dude, if China sent everything over to you guys tomorrow and you guys had to defend yourselves with no help from any allies, you know how hard that is? Like, I know what you guys have in your military. It's not
We've got more than you
fascinating.
Think. We've got more than you think we've got.
I know what you guys have, but I'm just saying, China has a lot of fucking people and a lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot of shit, exactly. We have Timu shit. They're fucking Timu warships.
No, they
Your
have
commitment
real
to your
shit.
own security is a down payment for the future.
I'll show you how we handle.
As you said, Mr. Secretary,
Okay.
peace through strength. We're also here today to directly and unambiguously express
You guys didn't know what to do with
that
fucking
stark strategic
a ship
reality
full of
Absolutely
shit.
insane
prevent the
fits.
United
We
States
didn't
of
know
America
what?
from
I said you guys didn't know what to do with a ship full of shit.
on the security of Europe.
I'll show you.
Whatever
The
happened to that
United
thing?
States faces consequential threats to our homeland.
It ripped up some
We
cables
must
somewhere
and
and
we
then...
are focusing on
I don't know, I haven't
security
heard
of
any
our
more about
borders.
it.
It disappeared.
We also face a peer competitor in the communist Chinese with the capability and intent to
See,
threaten our homeland.
What he's saying is that you've got more to worry about yourselves with China and
Exactly.
Iran than you have with Russia. But there is a flaw to what you're saying, though, because Russia is a threat to America, especially if they get together with China and with the Middle Eastern countries that also hate America.
But they're not.
They all hate America way more than they hate us.
That's fine, but nobody's done shit. Wonder why.
And core national interests in the Indo-Pacific. The
They haven't
U.S.
taken Taiwan
is
yet, have they?
prioritizing deterring war with China in
yeah.
the Pacific, recognizing the
Exactly.
reality of scarcity and making the resourcing trade-offs to ensure deterrence does not fail. Deterrence cannot fail
No.
for all of our
Look
states.
at reality today, Scott.
As the
Not
United
look at
States
swords and
prioritizes its
shields and
attention to
shit.
these threats,
But you just said
European
non-nuclear.
allies must
Yeah, non-nuclear, bro.
We fought 2 world wars non-nuclear.
Yeah, but it's not fucking
we can
those times
establish
anymore,
a
dude.
division of
What about all of the...
You guys had help. What are you talking about?
Really?
Fucking, we fought fucking.
You didn't fight. You didn't come into this war for a long, long time.
Yeah, but
Into World War II.
So if we didn't need us, then why we come in?
Because
Why couldn't you end it?
but it wasn't coming.
That's right. Daddy had to come in and fucking end it.
No, it wasn't really like that. It wasn't really like that.
I love talking shit.
Yeah, I know. Germany would never ever gonna invade Britain. They couldn't. It's impossible. They couldn't get across fucking 25 mile of
Dude,
ocean.
that dude was trying to take the world.
Yeah, and he couldn't do it. I mean, and he
Messed
couldn't
up.
do it because of us, because of the British. We fought him all the way back to fucking Russia at the time. Without you, You lot only got involved because, like, things were getting pretty desperate in the end for Europe, a lot of the countries in Europe. And also, like, your government at the time wanted in on the money-making machine.
Of course.
Labor that maximizes our comparative
love war.
advantages in
Yeah,
Europe
because it generates
and
a fucking
Pacific,
fortune for some
respectively.
people.
In my
Exactly,
first
Scott,
weeks
Pearl
as
Harbor.
Secretary of Defense under President
That was
Trump's
a
leadership,
setup,
we've
Pearl
seen
Harbor.
promising
I've told
signs
you that
that Europe
before.
sees this threat, understands what needs to be done.
Pearl Harbor
and
is what
stepping
got
up
you
to
into the
task.
war.
For example, Sweden recently announced its largest ever assistance package. We applaud them for committing $1.2 billion in ammunition and other needed material. Poland is spending 5% of
So
GDP
weird,
on
dude,
defense
before.
already, which is a model.
Just felt
for the
Tyson
continent.
rub up against my
And
leg.
14 other countries are
Well, he's
coalition
asleep on the
capability
chair.
These groups are doing great work to coordinate Europe's contributions of legal assistance
That's
across
freaking me out
8
now.
key capability areas. These are first steps. More must still be done. We ask each of your countries to step up on fulfilling the commitments that you have made. And we challenge your countries and your citizens to double down and recommit yourselves not only to Ukraine's immediate security needs, but to Europe's long-term defense and deterrence goals. Our transatlantic alliance has endured for decades, and we fully expect that it will be sustained for generations to come. But this won't just happen. It will require our European allies to step into the arena and take ownership of conventional security on the continent. The United States remains committed to the NATO alliance and to the defense partnership with Europe. Full stop. But the United
He
States
just said
will no
full stop
longer
and then says,
tolerate
but. I mean, full stop generally means the end.
an imbalanced relationship which encourages dependency. Rather, our relationship will prioritize empowering Europe to own responsibility for its own security. Honesty will be our policy going forward, but only in the spirit of solidarity. President Trump looks forward to working together, to continuing this frank discussion amongst friends, and to achieve peace through strength together. Thank you.
No questions, I'm afraid.
No questions, I'm afraid. We all need to go to the toilet and cry in the cubicles.
We hear your commitment to NATO, to Article 5, to a sovereign Ukraine, and to your
Looks like a
defence
potato,
partnership
a British
with
potato.
Europe.
Maris Piper.
We also hear your concerns. On stepping up for Ukraine, we are and we will. On stepping up for European security, we are and we will. And you've just spoken about peace through strength. We are 50 nations strong here, all determined to put an end to Putin's war, to do so together. Ladies and gentlemen, we have work to do. I will now ask the media.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
To leave.
I might go make something to eat a little bit. Fucking starving.
So let's look at I just played this stuff.
Don't worry, fat body pile.
Here we go.
In the English Channel, a Royal Navy frigate
This is happening
heading
today,
for a
Willie.
Russian military convoy. HMS Iron Duke has done this on average every fortnight.
This is
over
in the
past
English Channel.
6 months. On the bridge, the ship's captain oversees final preparations.
Come up on both gas turbines when that happens.
Soon, a Russian warship comes into view. The Alexander Otrakovsky is a landing ship and tank carrier. She's leading a convoy suspected of carrying Russian military equipment back from their former bases in Syria. We join a Wildcat helicopter from 815 Naval Air Squadron, helping to gather intelligence. The Russian warship can carry up to 500 tons of armoured vehicles. Its gunner positions were manned as we flew over.
This Russian convoy is heading up the English Channel under the Royal Navy's watch.
What the fuck are they doing?
From the air and on the sea, its every move
So
is
they've
being closely monitored.
bringing all their stuff back from Syria.
Testing you guys.
The English Channel is basically the ocean that runs between Britain and Europe.
Yeah.
So they're sailing right up through there, going back to Russia. Well, that's the only way they can kind of go back to Russia.
They don't give a shit.
They have to have permission. But this guy, these reporters are flying around in this Navy helicopter.
That's
and he's
crazy.
saying that the Russian guns, they're manned.
Aimed at them.
Yeah, I'd be a bit like...
I'd be like, get me out of here.
I wouldn't want to be up in that helicopter flying around, would you?
This fucking guy's like, no big deal.
2 other cargo vessels are part of the convoy. 3 more had split off in the...
So, I've shown you the stuff about those Club K missiles before. Basically storage containers that open up and fire missiles. And there were loads of these container ships. They split up, but this is one
hours
of
before.
But like, just think like...
The patrol vessel HMS Tyne...
One time they're coming through and it's not a normal, you know, it's not, they're not just bringing shit back and all of a sudden a couple of those fucking containers open up. I don't know, man. That'd be wild. That's scary to have them right there like that.
Yeah, because, like I say, the channel's only 25 miles across at some point. 25, 26 miles across. So it's not far. I've seen this, so where I live in Torbay, when all the storms were happening, the British naval ships were in the bay, protecting themselves from the rough weather.
is also helping, following the convoy since the early hours. The Royal Fleet Auxiliary here too. With the Russian warship in the background, Iron Duke's captain talked of the dangers.
So I think it's fair to say in the last 5 years the number of Russian vessels transiting through UK waters has increased. It certainly isn't my place to be addressing Russia directly, but my point to any non-allied warship as a frigate captain in the Royal Navy is that if you're transiting through our waters and there was any possibility that you could pose a threat to us, you should expect the Royal Navy to be very close at hand.
The professionalism and precision of Iron Duke's crew clear at every turn. Landing the Wildcat on a moving ship at night, a team effort, like everything on board. Round the clock on another busy day, we caught up with some of the crew during a break.
Well, in the Navy, and especially on ships, you always have the banter with different departments of saying, cars, it's a warship, it's not an engineering ship and all that, but if you didn't have the engineers, if you didn't have the medics, if you didn't have the chefs, it wouldn't run really, would it? So you need all them for the ship to run when we're sort of at sea. So yeah,
Typical fucking Brit.
Bro, I swear to God, dude.
Russia's reach
I still take
may
this Manuka
feel
honey every
far
day.
away, but in the English Channel,
my
a
skin
stark
has
reminder
never looked
of
better
how
in my
near
life.
it can
You're
be,
glowing.
and how vital
Swear to
the
God, no
readiness
homo.
to respond has become. Nick Connery, ITV News, on board
And like
HMS
no problem with my
Iron
stomach,
Duke.
dude.
That's the main thing. That was way bad, wasn't it?
Yeah. I can't believe it.
That was happening over the last couple of days. It's interesting, and then just this one more where Zelensky's wanting a fucking European army. This idiot.
You had a clear message today to European leaders about the need for an armed forces of Europe. What is the danger to this continent and the world if they don't listen to your warning and react? And in particular, can you talk to the people of Western Europe who've been lucky enough not to have to worry about war since the end of the Cold War and have really forgotten that all-of-nation resilience that obviously in Ukraine you know so well?
I hope that our
you give me your money.
These speeches and then meetings like the second part after speeches, yes, to make dialogue basing on very concrete details about EU army.
He's absolutely fucked and he knows it.
Increasing the brigades, not only in Ukraine.
Dude, honestly, you should see him like today. It's like...
I said that I'm speaking, it's not about our contingents on our territory, not only about it. I'm speaking about, first of all, your brigades. We know the number of brigades, what you have. Mostly in Europe, we understand what does it mean. And I think it's important for all of us, because, you know, it's very dangerous if Russia has 3 times bigger army than all Europe. So I think this is the answer that is dangerous, because
gaslighting, fuck it.
Minimum now, when Putin is such person who is ready for such, you know, such steps, and who is ready for occupation.
Give me your money.
So we not only speak about it. I think we made a lot of progress. I think from the very beginning of the war, leaders, after all my visits, all our dialogues,
Did you say wizards and Daleks?
Yeah, they wanted very much to help us with deficit of artillery or drones, a lot of systems, armed vehicles, a lot of things. But anyway, the production in Europe now 3-4 times bigger.
Give me more money.
I think what was important because of the war, what was important that all Europe leaders, not only in the East, in all Europe, they began to check what is in your storages and what quality, and you know, a lot of things been destroyed.
What are you talking about, little man?
That's really,
he's saying that this war did you a favor.
What really will work.
It exposed how many of all of our weapons are out of date and are crap, so we've had to replace them.
What a dumbass.
So he's done us a favor.
Just staying, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 years.
Right, weasels way out of
this is also very important, but it's not enough. Then
it's not enough. I want more money. Give me money.
Technologies, and we brought really to our partners, and that really how it will work. And you will not. God bless you. Will not any words, but I think that anyway, if it will be some challenges, new drones, new sea drones,
absolute shite. This is not the question she asked.
Change.
Yeah, he's pissing me off.
People on the battlefield.
Yeah, and this is online.
It's also important. This is global security. This is real. By the way, this is real security, which works. But it's not enough to defend yourself if Russia will go to NATO countries.
Oh, we gave you guys fucking...
And what you ask more? Or it's enough.
It was more just to speak to
200 million at one
you said
fucking
that the
time.
leaders are starting to understand. You said you've noticed the difference in terms of their understanding of the threat from Russia. But it's like the people who
whatever the
choose
fuck
the
her name is,
priorities
she
in
was like, yeah, we're
democracy.
sending
So what's your
200
message to
million
ordinary
today. I was
people
like, what
that have
the?
forgotten what it's like to feel a threat as you feel in Ukraine?
No, but look what's going on with us.
He really did,
Scott. Countries. If Ukraine will not stop Putin, and if these countries, Europeans, will not, or will stop their support, just look. So millions of people, migration, more than 8 million people lost their houses. They lost their husbands. Their husbands went to the front line. A lot of
you
losses,
sent them there, you
losses.
fucking idiot.
Destroyed houses. All you love, all life, what you loved before, now you will lose, because this is the war. And of course now,
Putin has absolutely no interest.
I know there are some cases
in invading Europe.
Ukrainians who are abroad, that there are some cases, and some societies are not very happy with a lot of Ukrainians. But just sometimes
What's his name? Hitler.
Come Just come and understand and look at them, and you can be on their place.
It amazes me that people even try to compare him to Hitler, dude.
What will be? So I think that
The thing is, he's trying to scaremonger, saying that, you know, they're keeping Putin at bay, but it's like, no, because if he even dares to go into Europe, then obviously NATO will kick in and blow his ass up.
Exactly.
But you're not in NATO.
This guy's exactly. I don't even know why this guy's even. Why I don't even know why the fuck. We like everything should stop. All the funding to that war should stop, and fucking they should figure it out. That's it, man.
They should have an election. They need to have an election. They need to fucking count. They need to count the money that they fucking spent and show us where it is.
I just don't understand why this guy's even relevant right now. If he's not in NATO, why are we helping a non-NATO country?
Because he wants to be part of NATO, and because
Joe
Biden told him that he probably could join NATO.
Well, I'm delusional.
Yeah. Why is that fucking...
Is there any ingredient? Let me see if there's any, like, ingredients. No.
This was 9 hours ago. This was put out.
I can see very little prospect of anybody in Greater London standing much of a chance of surviving what would be the primary nuclear attack on London and on Westminster. Certainly the heart of London would be totally destroyed. And the sort of weapons we're talking about are 8 times as powerful as the bomb that was dropped in 1945, in August 1945, on Hiroshima in Japan. And so people directly caught up in the blast were just vaporized. There's nothing left of those people at all. There'd be a huge firestorm. Everything would burn up within a certain radius. It would depend exactly where the bomb was detonated. The higher up, the greater the area that would be destroyed, but the longer it would take to destroy it. So a bomb close to the Palace of Westminster would totally incinerate the immediate area. Greater London would then take longer to feel the effects of radioactivity.
Why are you guys even talking about getting bombed?
Spread everywhere.
It's a fucking gaslighting, aren't they? They're fear-mongering. Because they're fear-mongering, aren't they? Because of what JD Vance has been putting out there now, and now
if he didn't fucking nuke, if he didn't nuke Ukraine, I don't think he's gonna fucking nuke you guys for no reason.
But this came out today about them nuking fucking England.
Jesus Christ, relax.
And they've got all their warships going up through the channel. It's like they're just trying to scaremonger us.
And not just over the United Kingdom.
There's no interest in
the prevailing winds in this country come from the west. So all those countries to the west of us, including Russia itself, would be receiving the radioactive wind.
How can the Earth be flat? How is that flat?
Which would sweep across the continent of Europe. And of course, we have nothing prepared for this. I mean, my wife and I live in the Shires near Oxford. And once a month, there's a siren.
Willie, see that place there?
Mm-hmm.
So that place there with those houses, that's literally probably bigger than where I live.
Really?
There's probably more houses in that little area there that you can see than like there is in the village that I live in.
Oh my God.
Goes off at a particular time just to make sure the siren is still working. I think it's located on top of the town hall. I don't know. It's meant to reassure us that, we are alert. But of course, there's nothing else there. There's no place that you could go. There are no air raid shelters. Paradoxically, London and central London has a whole series of tunnels that have existed for some time.
Spoken too much.
Communication tunnels surrounding Whitehall and the Buckingham Palace.
You said you're going live again?
In theory, those
I might do. I'll see.
Slip down into those tunnels.
See what time it is when I get back.
Be protected, but normal. That would be reserved for the royals,
catch you in a bit.
for civil servants, and of course the cabinet. As I say, the cabinet did have a bunker, but we got rid of that. So they would all slip.
Willie, if you're still listening, there's our Prime Minister, Mr. Keir. That's him there on your screen. Keir Starmer. Cockwomble. If you look at Cockwomble in the dictionary, there's a picture of him in there.
Underground, under the Mall in London, and try and run Britain from there, but ordinary people in that area would just be vaporized, wouldn't exist any longer. But don't forget, we would be in a position to strike back because, and this is the beauty of our nuclear deterrent being submarine-based, one nuclear-armed submarine is continuously at sea. Nobody knows where it is. The captain...
Actually, there's two, and we've got two different types. There's one that, well, there's two submarines that stay under the water the whole time that they're deployed. But they're smaller than the other ones, but they are nuclear capable.
On the sub has written instructions from the Prime Minister of the day. So at the moment, it would be Sir Keir Starmer. Will have been one of the first things he did on becoming Prime Minister, incidentally, would be to sign a letter putting Britain's nuclear deterrent together with NATO's nuclear deterrent, and in particular agreeing that the lead on the use of the nuclear deterrent should be given by the President of the United States, because that was Biden when Sir Keir came into office. And those written instructions are in a safe in one of the Vanguard submarines, and the signal would go out from London to the captain of the submarine saying, open the safe, read the letter, follow the instructions. So all of that would be done. And even if the whole of Greater London was a smoking, glowing nuclear morass, Russia could still be destroyed.
Like Hiroshima
Again,
was.
I would repeat that the really important thing to note is that it is our belief that the deterrent works. So there'd be very little actual planning as to what would happen. I think things would vary from country to country. So what would be at the back of Russia's mind would be that there would be a nuclear attack on the UK and on France. I don't think on the United States of America, and clearly not on China. So France and the UK would be the countries in a nuclear firing line. A country like Germany, which has no nuclear weapons at all, or the Baltic states,
because they're not allowed
nuclear weapons, they rely on our nuclear weapons and France's nuclear weapons, and of course, most of all, on the massive arsenal of the United States of America. But as I say, Trump as president, he's a peacenik. He wants to make peace, and if he would to see that Western Europe was kind of finished, and that NATO was finished, I don't think he would. That's at the heart of the Ukraine problem, that if he were to have a win, or something that he could call a win in Ukraine, then he would turn his attention to this wider aim of reestablishing the geopolitical entity that was the Soviet Union. I mean, Putin isn't a communist, whatever that means, but he is a KGB person. He thinks like a KGB person. He acts like a KGB person. And his skill set is that of a KGB officer. Threats backed up by violence to get his name. But he's also a coward, and he's not suicidal. So all these things could be prevented if we were preparing properly for them. And as I say, we're not. We're not preparing properly for them in the United Kingdom. We don't have an Iron Dome defense system against Russian missiles. We're not thinking clearly about this. And the same is true for all other West European NATO states. All of them should be investing in anti-missile system. All of them should be realizing that the opening gambits in Putin's mad, expansionist, revisionist policy wants to tear up the map of Europe and redraw it in Russia's interest. That the most important thing to do is to prepare for it. If you prepare for it, it's less likely to happen. If you don't prepare for it, you're basically opening your front door and handing Putin the key. And he will take it. He will take it.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I just don't think that he's got any interest in
Now it's 23 countries spending more than 2%.
So this is our foreign secretary. It's only a short one, but this guy's a freaking idiot as well. These are some of our world leaders compared to yours, but this is our foreign secretary, David Lammy. He's an idiot.
On defence spending, and we all know that we have to go upward. The UK is absolutely committed to 2.5, and we'll set out a pathway to 2.5 in a few months' time.
So you're going to give away more of my money, are you? Thank you, David Lammy. That's very polite of you. I hope you fucking asked me first.
it is clear to me that there is also, and the US has been clear about that, there is a big threat in the Indo-Pacific. People have given the impression that the Euro-Atlantic and the Indo-Pacific are tied as if it's tied just at this moment. It was tied in the Second World War. 30,000 British men lost their lives in the Indo-Pacific in the Second World War. It has always been tied. And we recognize that pacing threat as the United States bears down on that issue. So of course Europe has to do more. And then there's a question for us. At the moment, we are spending 53%. We're committed to that money on military spend towards Ukraine. 60% now is coming from Europe in terms of overall aid to Ukraine. So we have stepped up. But there is a question for Europe. If we look at GDP combined, it's about 0.01% that we are spending on that fight for Ukraine. We know this is the front line, not just for Ukraine, but for Europe. We know, too, that even when we get to a negotiated peace, Putin will not go away. So this is an existential question for Europe. We meet that question alongside the United States. At an appropriate time, we will get into a debate about security guarantees. And there will be an arrangement, of course, but quite rightly, we say that there is an irreversible pathway for Ukraine towards NATO. That is the cheapest, and it is the best mechanism to secure peace, not just in Europe, but across the Euro-Atlantic.
When it comes to that NATO membership, though, I just would like to get your thoughts on some of the comments we've heard already at the Munich Security Conference, suggesting that perhaps the best way, the best security guarantee we can do at this stage is telling Ukraine, if Russia invades you a third time, then you will immediately be part of NATO. Do you think that's too late? Do you think that's not good enough as a security guarantee?
There's tremendous complexity when we talk about security guarantees, and actually in different theatres of conflict, you see different types of security guarantee. I was in Ukraine a month before the war broke out, and at that time the OSCE was effectively the safeguard of that guarantee. And there was a monitoring mechanism. It was breached 20 times by the Russian. We cannot go back to that. We cannot go back to Minsk. That won't work. But it's also true that when we look at the border, this is 1,200 kilometers of border. There are 250 brigades currently facing off against each other. This would take tremendous manpower and resource. This is also a theatre of conflict where we've seen major advance, drone technology particularly, and the capability now in Ukraine is tremendous. That may assist us with the guarantees that we need. But in the end, we will have to come to an arrangement whereby Ukraine has the guarantee and we have the collective guarantee that if Russia breaches a guarantee, we can act. And that is enough of a threat that they don't breach the guarantee. And those are the questions that we will need to get into in the months ahead.
Absolute gibberish.
But now it's 23 countries spending more.
Just talk absolute gibberish, these people. They're not talking on our behalf. My comment. Come up top. What did I put? Give myself a little like. Screw Ukraine until they have an election and make some guarantees to give us our money back. Yeah. David Lammy is a complete embarrassment. What a waffling tool. What an absolute clown. Everyone sitting on that stage is irrelevant. What an embarrassment. How can any country take Lammy seriously? Who gives a fuck what this guy says? Hasn't got a clue. The world is a stage, and Lammy irreversibly fell flat on his face upon it. Oh, what a joke, Lammy. See, the comments are just golden. These people just do not learn. Like, they have no idea. It's, what do you think of our government, Scott? The rest of you Brits in here, Kel, what do you think? What's going to happen here? Are we going to get an election anytime soon? Is Starmer going to keep getting away with what he's doing? Get rid of this a minute. Just wanted to find something. I've got too many playlists and now it takes too long to find stuff, which is annoying. I know what I can do. I know Let's play a little reminder for Truth Exposed over there. Where she come from, shall we? Let's take her back. I'm sorry, Kelly D.
Shrek telling us we're beautiful? That's stupid. What's funny though is I just gotta wonder. Are we really that stupid? Nope. Are we that lonely? That we need some little troll that looks like Shrek telling us we're beautiful? Oh, Tanner's saying show.
I hope so, Scott.
Yeah, show the kill. Oh, there it is. I love it. Alright, so we're gonna get on to the show, everyone. I think you got the point. Yeah. Now this is a bit of a pain in the neck. This is a bit of a pain in the neck because
This is one of my favorite parts of the video, but this is so insane. What are these people? Now it's the
people. So Turtle Boy, self-proclaimed award-winning journalist. Karen Reed didn't do it. Did you watch the show the other day? I think we proved that Karen Reed probably did it. And then this one, number 9, you know what? I was struggling. Needed to come up with somebody real quick, and I had 2 others on the fence, and I just didn't have the heart to put them on yet. One of them was, you know, real close, and the other one was, I'm still holding out hope for him. But, I don't know why. Brian Hoffman, he's the one that came up with the theory about the golf clubs. All 4 of these victims were run by someone wielding golf clubs. So I gave him the title, Brian Hoffman, Grip It and Rip It, with a 7-iron. That's how it happened. Oh, grip it and rip it, Brian Hoffman. How can they do? Call me, bro. We gotta talk. He needs help. I'm sorry, I hope John Daly doesn't get pissed at me for using his slogan. Last but not least. Now this guy. We could just drop it in the chat. It's LTL podcast.
I think this is like the 2nd or 3rd video I ever made.
You go ahead and play it.
On iMovie.
Brian has been on a roll lately. Yep. Brian has been on a roll lately. Yep. You could just drop the link in the chat too. There you go. Alright, I did. Hey guys, I'll be right back. I gotta pee. You go talk. Alright, sounds good. I'll just talk to the chat. Come on up, Brian. Who are we going at? Who?
I'm all about the First Amendment. But just because you can say it doesn't mean you should say it.
What's this girl's screen name? What is it? Golf? What's her screen name? Golf Inspector. Golf Inspector. Hey, Golf Inspector. You need to probably concentrate on inspecting shafts and balls. Instead of concentrating on trying to analyze a criminal case. Stick to shafts and balls, because that's what you're good at. Unbelievable. Talking about the size of the room? What's your point, lady?
Oh dear, where did they come from? Hey, where did they come from? Well, move on. She wouldn't get blocked. She wouldn't keep getting blocked and unblocked and blocked and unblocked and blocked and unblocked and blocked if she didn't keep coming in and just like losing her shit and giving everyone a hard time. She gets lots of chances. To my this was a year ago. A bit mean now watching that. J-Lord's alright, really. A lot of those people got suckered into Detective John's crap. I did do a video about Tyson's balls somewhere, but I don't know where that's gone now. I don't know what happened to that. Maybe I deleted it. Deleted some stuff. Yeah, poor Tyson. Is he picking on his balls, eh? He didn't do anything wrong. He just exposed his balls on camera for everyone to see. What episode? It's lucky he's still got them. So anyway, yeah, good luck with that, Truth Exposed, you fucking weirdo. Bring it, Frank. Just keep bringing it, dude. One day you might find something interesting to talk about. Guarantee it won't be me. Remember this one? I've got an emoji for this, haven't I? Exactly, just don't get involved, Moonville. It's best. Tyson is my dog, yeah.
Yep, he's pretty pathetic. Deflection. You're about to see deflection 101 right here. You want to see the prime example of deflection is coming up right here. Listen to this.
Oh my God!
I don't like the look of it.
I kind of miss Johnny. Bits.
I don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bring it. Sing it. Or like, yeah, that's right.
Don't worry, Meanie.
That's right. Bring it. Don't sing it.
I don't like the look of it.
I forgot. This is over a year ago I made these. This was the last fucking pretend policeman out here. Daniel's taken over the role now. Daniel desperately wants John to go on his channel, so I hear. They'd make a great team, don't you think? How long's your video? If it's 20 minutes. You've had 1.3Ks on your video already, woman. You're doing well. How many subs you got now? How many subs? 2.6. Halfway there. Halfway to the 5K. Halfway to the 5K. I'm gonna watch it. Once I made a thumbnail in case we get like a last minute Frank's hearing drop. So I thought, right, I better make a thumbnail ready in case I need to set up a live. Who wants to see it? I want to know how many of you people in here, I'll give you a little sneak peek. I want to know how many of you people in here know who this guy is, right? Where is it? Okay. Share this. I want to know if you recognize who this is, alright? So this is my emergency thumbnail I've got ready, locked and loaded. Do you know who that is, guys? Scott will know who that is. Donna. It's Frank Spencer. Betty. It's Frank Spencer. Yeah. And it's Judge Hitler. That's how I see him. That's how I keep trying to explain him. That eagle fed dude from the Muppets. But yeah, Frank Spencer. Did somebody say Frank's? So I'm just waiting for that Frank's hearing to drop. And ready to go. Right. I'm going to watch Fitz's video. Yeah, I'll catch all you guys at some point over the next couple of days, probably. It is very old. It's from my youth. So anyway, right guys, thanks for coming over here, joining us, talking about, you know, the real world and what's going on. I know some people don't see the relevance in it, but it is all relevant to these cases that we follow, and the law and the process of the law and your rights and how the system is used against you as citizens. It's all being exposed. It's all relevant. So that's why it interests me. And it all has a knockdown effect, you know. Thank you guys. It's definitely. Do you know what, Fitz? I did consider the other day doing a podcast, and like, I am putting it out there as a fairly serious idea. I might do a podcast of me reading 1984 by George Orwell. I could do it by chapter, but it's a lot of reading. I mean, I've read it once. It's a big ass book. It's quite a lot of reading, but I might do that. Just a separate podcast, just for something to do. Maybe I could get AI to read it. I don't know how AI works. I keep trying to find out how to make like AI thumbnails like some people make, and I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get AI to do anything. Too old for all that. I've got the whole collection of George Orwell. I've got an old book, really, really thick book. I tried listening to the audio book of it, and I can't really get into audio books. I like to sit and read a book. Army Terry and June. Legendary. Anyway. So yeah, I might do that. If anybody would be interested. Interested. Sorry, it's getting late, guys. 20 to 3. I'm going to go check out Fitz's video, and I'm going to check out Jules's video, and I'm going to check out Kara's new video. Might have to do some of that tomorrow. But yeah, if you haven't seen any of those things, please do go check them out, and join us again on this channel or the other channel sometime soon. Later, guys. Bye bye.